All right. Get the lighting better in here. Yeah, I will just things don't have the greatest lighting. A little bit. Turn the music down. Maybe we'll have it faintly playing in the background. Why not? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. You'll hear on 863 Seminole TV. It's Noles After Dark. And I'll be honest with you, I'm just happy that I was able to get 2 videos out in a week. And I don't have much to talk about. I'm just going live because I'm bored. And I just want to talk. But I already got D. Thompson in the building with the $5. He said he's just checking in, and I'm just appreciating you here kicking it tonight. And so tonight's more of this open forum. What are we talking about? I had a couple pretty decent ideas, and we'll definitely talk about some of that stuff. But I appreciate you, D. Thompson, with the $5 donation. I don't think we've seen this one in a while.
Click a deep crank, the money goes into my biggie bank.
So we're just gonna kick it off. Hope everybody's doing good. This is the what? Well, obviously Saturday night for y'all, Sunday morning for me. You guys still have another day. This is the last day of the 4th of July weekend. So I hope everybody had a good 4th, safe 4th. Unfortunately, I don't know. It'd be wrong of me not to mention, as I say, I hope everybody had a safe 4th of July weekend. We lost a Noles this weekend. Former FSU corner A.J. Lighton. Him and a couple others. Their names are escaping me right now. But the young man that got drafted to the Minnesota Vikings, and I think another one, I don't think I remember, lost their lives in a car crash. And from what I saw, from what I was reading, it was a drunk driver. Is what's unfortunately is why I have a zero tolerance for people that get behind the wheel of a car and drink. So yeah, condolences and prayers go out to AJ Light and his family. We did lose a Noles this weekend. Very unfortunate, very sad situation, sad story, quite honestly. But I hope all you guys had a safe, fun 4th of July. And let's move on. Give me 1 second. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We might have some. Okay, bet. So we might have some people hop in here tonight and just chop it up a little bit. Let me send a link. Give me 1 second, guys, and then I'll get into a quick roll call, and then we'll start talking some ball. Or just talking about whatever. Give me 1 second so I can send this link out. That's not what I want. There we go. Copy that. Bam. All right, bet. Let's do it. Terrence, I see you lurking. Island Boy, FSU Tony Vontae. Panama says, didn't realize until Warchant posted a video talking about we're 7 deep in the running back position and nobody hit the transfer portal. Well, Rodney did hit the transfer portal. Let's count them real quick. Is Warchant accurate? I don't know. Roydell, Lawrence, Keziah, Cam, Lucas, Danzy, Singleton. So we're 7 deep. And Rodney would have been 8 deep, but Rodney Hill did hit the transfer portal. So we actually did have someone leave in the portal. But you also got to look at it. One of the reasons why more people, you could argue, didn't hit the portal. Keziah Holmes is a senior. Roydell's a senior. Lawrence is a senior. Lucas is a senior. You're losing. And that's probably your main 4 rotating backs right there. But, of course, Cam Davis getting in. He's going to get in there, we assume, and compete for some snaps. But you're losing, you're losing your 4 guys at the top pretty much. So that's why it kind of doesn't make sense for anybody to transfer. What's up, Sports Mark? R.A. Nixon, Chance 99. Almighty Finn says, hey, Pope, what's your opinion on Bronny today? I just saw the stat line. I didn't watch. Again, I think we're making too big of a deal for a guy that got drafted 55 out of 58. I understand everybody's like, oh, the Lakers picked with the 55th pick and a 58 pick draft LeBron James' son. You'd have a better argument if he was a first round pick, we'd have some problems, right? Ow. Again, I don't. He wasn't that good at USC, so it's not like I expect him to come to the NBA and start balling out. You feel me? Prayers up for them and their families. What's up, New King God? So what's the topic for tonight? Whatever. I don't have a topic. We're just going to talk about anything and everything. Dupree Hundo in the building. And so, yeah, as far as the Bronny James thing goes, man, no big deal for me. That's just me. So I want to hit on some of the stuff that people said they wanted to talk about. Some kind of request I got. Someone asked my take on what's about to happen in the SEC and Big Ten with the new additions and the Big 12. So as far as the SEC, let's start with the SEC. And as we know, the SEC brought in, he definitely will have to play in the G League Champs Night. Now, I don't disagree that one. If here's where the problem starts. Before we get into that, let's continue the Bronny James thing. Here's what I'll say about that. Again, I don't have a problem with him being drafted. I would have a problem if Bronny James is instantly in the rotation next year. If he's getting 10, 15 minutes a game next year, I think that is an issue. But that's what it kind of comes down to. I think he will have to play in the G League. He might be the highest player in the G League because I think he signed a guaranteed contract because, of course, he did. He's LeBron James' son. You're not going to not sign him to a guaranteed contract. It also is going to depend. Do the Lakers care about actually winning, or are they going to just care about – because you got everybody talking about it. So people are going to come to the arena to see it. People are going to watch it and see if there's any substance to the hype. If the Lakers care about winning, there's no way Bronny James should be on the basketball court. If they just care about, I don't know, selling tickets or the fiasco, well, in the twilight of LeBron James' career, that's what it's going to be relegated to, just a sideshow act. Because honestly, even if they do care about winning, the roster isn't built to really beat the top teams in the West anyway, if we're being honest with you. New King says folks say they don't care about Bronny, but they're giving it all the attention. Well, they're always because it's LeBron James. Just imagine if Michael Jordan had drafted as the Wizards owner Marcus Jordan. who played at UCF. Just imagine that. So it's gonna get the attention. LeBron James is one of the biggest sports figures in the world. Um, so yeah, it's gonna get the attention. It's definitely gonna get the attention. But back to the topic at hand. Uh, what's my take on the SEC, Big Ten, and the new additions to these conferences and the Big 12? Start with the SEC because they only added two. They added Oklahoma and Texas. There's a lot of people who believe that Texas and Oklahoma will struggle. I am not one of those people who believe that. You're talking about blue blood type programs that have been competitive every year I'm alive. Both Texas and Oklahoma have won national championships in my lifetime. Oklahoma has played in multiple national championships in my lifetime. I think Texas has only played in one, I think, and that's the Vince Young one. But it's still Texas, ton of resources, might be the most profitable school in Division One athletics in terms of not counting the Harvard, in terms of football revenue. And so much so that I don't know how true the rumors are, but Texas A&M may be looking at the big now because one of the things promised to them when they came to the SEC is that they would be the premier school from Texas. Texas A&M continues to show that they want no parts of the University of Texas because if you live in Texas, if you know about that state, that is a Longhorn state. I say it all the time. Texas A&M has their they have their fans. Don't get me wrong; they have a big fan base, but it's a Longhorn state, and that state is burnt orange. And if they can't get up out of the shadow of Texas, their time, Texas A&M's time in the SEC, they did have Johnny, they had Jimbo, they were pulling in recruiting classes, but never could quite get over the hump, and I don't see it happening now with Texas in the mix. I think both schools will be successful in that conference, and obviously adds to the depth of that conference, and it makes that, SEC continues to be one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Just top tier conference. I'm not some SEC fanboy, but at the end of the day, when you have Georgia, Bama, Texas, Oklahoma, LSU, you could really stop there. Those 5 programs in one conference, you can really just stop there, right? Then, of course, you got some of their second tier teams. I mean, at one point you would have put Florida in that mix, right? Florida they've had 3 straight losing seasons, so they need to fix it. But then when you go to your second tier teams, it's still Florida, Auburn. I feel like I'm missing. That might be about it. I mean, Ole Miss, right? That's a tough conference. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, that is a competitive conference, but the Texas has the resources to compete. Texas has the resources to be a premier team in that conference. So I don't think Texas is going to struggle. I don't think Oklahoma will either because that's another national brand. And you can say, well, it's Oklahoma. Oklahoma has – I don't know how Oklahoma does it. It's actually kind of interesting when you look at the contrast between Oklahoma and Nebraska. Both have tons of money to spend. Both are in not ideal places for kids to go play college football. Now, I've never been to neither one of these places, but just the thought of playing in Oklahoma or Nebraska doesn't sound appealing to a Florida guy, right? Oklahoma, despite being in Oklahoma, is able to still recruit at a national level and bring in top tier guys, where Nebraska has completely fell off the map when it comes to that. I think Oklahoma and Texas, quite frankly, will be fine. I'm not saying they'll they'll be what they've been. And Finn just he's right. Colt McCoy, Texas Longhorns, did play Bama in the national championship. So again, Texas has been competitive in my lifetime multiple times. So again, I think Texas, Oklahoma, they're gonna do what they do. It just makes the conference deeper and more competitive. In your honest opinion, as a Florida State fan, would you rather be attached to Clemson and going to the ACC, or possibly attached to Miami and going to the Big Ten. Well, we're in. I think you mean the SEC, attached to Clemson and go to the SEC, or attached to Miami and go to the Big Ten. Without bringing all the other stuff into it, me personally, give me Miami and let's go to the Big Ten. I've talked about this plenty of times. There's some really intriguing matchups for the Florida schools in the Big Ten. And I guess this is a great segue into the Big Ten, because you have, let's just go with the Miami and Florida State in the Big Ten. I would pay to see Miami USC play, if possible, yearly or every other year. Even Florida State USC, Florida State UCLA. I think it's just very intriguing, that Miami LA dynamic, and then you still have Florida State, Michigan, Florida State. It's a different brand of football for those southern schools. Well, obviously Florida State and the southern schools fit into what the SEC are doing. Give me Florida State and Miami to the Big Ten. I just kind of like the way that looks and sounds. Then I like to keep the rivalry alive. I don't want any of Florida State's rivalries to die. Like I say all the time, I don't consider Clemson a rivalry, so take that however you feel about that one. Speaking of the Big Ten, they added Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA. To pretty much all the big hitters on the West Coast, the Big Ten added them to that mix. And that becomes a little bit more, here's my problem. Ever since Pete Carroll left, it's not like USC has dominated the pack. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much been Oregon's conference for the most part. Then you can trickle in Utah. Where did Utah go? Did Utah go to the Big Ten as well, or am I tripping? Did I miss Utah? Where did Utah end up, guys? Because Utah's not in the Big 12, are they? Maybe they are in the Big 12. Let me look that up. Big 10 members. Here, Big 10 members football. Let's do that. Because I know the football and basketball can get weird. Maybe they did join the Big 12 in Utah, because Utah's also had a claim to being the big boys in the Pac-12 since USC's sort of fall from grace. I just want to. So obviously, Illinois, Indiana, Washington, Southern Cal, UCLA, and obviously Oregon. So yeah, no Utah. Utah might be in the Big 12. My problem with USC, again, is it sounds good on paper. It's USC, da-da-da-da-da. Lincoln Riley started hot, and he's I don't know if you check a look at the recruiting on the field. Like last year was low-key a disaster on the field for the Trojans. You were supposed to be the premier team, probably competing for a playoff spot, and you were in war. You going toe-to-toe with some of the schools you shouldn't have been going toe-to-toe with. You had a returning Heisman winner who, just I don't know. And then Lincoln Riley's not the deep. I don't know. Well, I don't know about USC. I want to say they'll be fine in the Big Ten, but I really don't know. I think Oregon will be fine because it's Oregon. I think Oregon probably will benefit from just the revenue boost and it being Nike and all that stuff. I think the easiest transition, I would say, is the Oregon Ducks. USC and UCLA, it's not like they were dominant Pac-12 schools. So I don't know if maybe they get like that Missouri boost, where Missouri was never really great in the old Big 12. And then they got to the SEC, and Missouri, they were in the SEC championship. They have been competitive. I wouldn't call them great, but they've been a competitive program. Maybe a team like UCLA gets a Missouri bump. And as far as Washington goes, I got to see it more consistently from the Huskies. They were great last year. They were, but that was a team that was kind of built to win that year. Can Washington, can Huskies do it consistently? He's going to be an interesting watch. I think Oregon has the easiest transition, obviously, out of those schools. Going back to the SEC, since Bama's interesting too, maybe slight, but I would expect a little drop off. But I know they still. There's gonna, I believe there's gonna be some drop off. I know everybody loves DeBoer and thinks he's gonna be the next great coach, and he may very well be. And I'm not saying he's not. Once the games get played, you're gonna see, is DeBoer gonna be competitive in that league? Talent-wise, yes, Bama's still at the top. Oklahoma's closer to North Texas than lots of parts of Texas. Good enough to pull guys from there. POLK, but what's scary about Texas specifically, I don't think their defense is ready physically in terms of the talent they have on it to handle it. Well, again, they said the same thing about Missouri and some of these other schools when they came over. You can say they're not physically ready, but they beat Alabama at home on the road last year. Like, they went into Tuscaloosa and beat Bama. And then you got to think about the SEC bump. What is the SEC bump? Well, some of those physical players that you're referring to that they may have been losing out to, if you think of that region, maybe to LSU or maybe even to the Alabamas of the world. Now some of those Texas kids or Louisiana kids or some of those kids just in that area, now they're going to stay home because their whole thing was, I want to play in the SEC. I want to play in the SEC. Well, now they're playing in the SEC, right? And so, again, I think Texas will be fine. They have the resources, and I think they have the coach. They'll be fine. They will be okay. Yeah. Utah did go to the Big 12. Okay, but that's what I thought. Miami staying in the ACC, probably won't be playing them yearly anymore in a few years. And that's, I think, unfortunate. I would love to not do that. I agree. Let's Get It says the linebacking group was one of the best units on the field last year. Atkins should be on the hot seat, in my opinion. Whole different conversation. Maybe we'll touch on that one. Let's go back to the Big 12 now. Everybody's talking about the Big 12. Let me read this one, and then we'll go to the Big 12 and the kind of the revamping of the Big 12. Right, the Big 12 top to bottom is kind of a very different conference than it was just a year ago, obviously. So let me prepare myself for that conversation. But anyway, says to me, I'm surprised that the SEC wouldn't want to bring in Miami and Florida State with Clemson to keep those southern schools in the South so they don't have to go to the Big Ten. Well, they already got Florida. So when you already have the Gators in Florida, and the Gators, like all the Florida schools, they reach the entire state. So there's plenty of Gators in South Florida, specifically like the Belgrade area, right? I know if anybody is from there or have been through there, whole lot of Gator fans in the Belgrade area. Florida State fans are in the South Florida. Also, you go up north and you'll find the same thing, right? You'll find the Miami fans up north. You'll find the Gator fans up north. So they don't, to the SEC's defense, they don't really need a Florida State or Miami in that conference. Where I think the Big Ten, which just look at the model they are currently building, they are east to west right now. They have Rutgers, Penn State. They've got all the East Coast teams. Now they got all the West Coast teams. It would make sense if you're the Big Ten to now take a Texas A&M if they're interested, and A&M wants to get away from Texas, and to take a Florida State or a Miami. It just makes sense from the model that the Big Ten is building. They're looking to be a national brand. SEC looks to really trying to stay in the Southeast for the most part, or the Big Ten is looking to be a national thing. Would you want to play Miami and Florida every year plus a Big Ten? Yes, why not? Absolutely. The Big Ten. I would take a Big Ten schedule over an ACC schedule. Color me shocked. Outside of Michigan and Ohio State, who am I even worried about in the Big Ten? I'm not worried about Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, Rutgers, Wisconsin. Bro, that sounds like a cake. So I'm making more money in the Big Ten, and in my opinion, playing an easier schedule. Again, outside of Ohio State and Michigan. Well, Florida State already plays Clemson, who I would stack up with Ohio State and Michigan, Florida, Miami, and then they usually schedule a pretty decent out-of-conference opponent, whether that's Notre Dame or LSU the last 2 years. I think we got Georgia and Bama coming up, and yeah, absolutely. The Big Ten schedule isn't hard at all. Now, I didn't account for maybe a USC or whatever, but again, I'm not too worried about them. I'm not too worried about those West Coast schools, with the exception of Oregon, because Dan Lanning's doing his thing over there in Oregon. But no, I'm not worried about the Big Ten schedule compared to the ACC. I would take North Carolina, NC State over the Purdue's and the Indianas. Like, that's just me, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Does Florida have the power that people think they do in terms of preventing teams like Florida State might? I don't know. It's not so much about whether they have the power. I'm not saying that Florida is keeping Florida State, Miami in terms of the university. I'm saying if I'm the SEC, what benefit does bringing Florida State and Miami? Because I already have Florida. I'm not saying Florida is keeping them out of the conference. I'm not so sure Florida has that power. Just for the SEC's, why would we? Either way, as long as we get out of the ACC, I wouldn't mind being in the SEC either. It's going to just be a gauntlet of a schedule in the SEC for sure. Way more so than it would be if you go to the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten schedule is just flat out easier. None of us can sit here, YouTube personalities included, and say where for sure FSU is going. It does make the most logical sense for them. I definitely have not once said for sure where FSU is going because I don't know. I am a light-skinned dude on YouTube. I've never claimed to know. I've never even claimed to have any insight on it. I'm telling you where I would want them to go, but I don't care if they end up in the SEC or the Big Ten. And I can only look at how the conferences are moving to see what makes the most sense where Florida State might end up. I have no idea. I'll let other people tell you where they're going to end up. I don't have any clue. I'm right here with you. I don't know. We're just talking about it. ESPN does not want the Big Ten in the Southeast. Well, it's not up to ESPN because Fox has a say so. So if ESPN doesn't want the Big Ten in the Southeast, then they're gonna have to. I've heard all the stuff about ESPN could move Florida State. I get that ESPN doesn't want it, but if Fox wants it, now we're at a bidding war. You're gonna give Florida State what they want, ESPN, or is Fox gonna give Florida State what they want? Ultimately, ESPN might not be able to keep Florida State or keep the Big Ten out of the Southeast. And that's what I was just speaking on. There's, again, Texas A&M. The rumor is that they're not happy with Texas joining because, of course, they're not happy with Texas joining. I believe that. I believe that rumor personally. So, again, ESPN might not have they're going to try to combat it, but they might be on the losing side of that. A local business perspective, FSU's local business would make more money if they go to the SEC because those teams will travel to town more than the Big Ten. I think, and we're going to see, right? We're going to see with USC and some of these other programs in the Big Ten. I think we have to – college football fans travel. And I'll take it a step further. The main universities, those fans travel. Those fans travel. If you don't think that some of those up north, Midwest, dreary fall and going in the winters don't want to take a trip down to Florida every now and then, those fans travel. I think those fans will travel. Is it an easier commute? Absolutely. But that's why they made planes. I don't think that's as big a deal as people try to make it. Oh, the fans don't. The only school that you have to worry about, I mean, this is a free shot, but I mean, I got to take it, is the Miami. Because the Miami fans don't even go to their own games unless it's a big game. So if we want to really get into the weeds of it, if I'm the Big Ten, if I'm the SEC, Miami's the one school, though they have the national brand, they don't necessarily have the fan base that I am sitting here saying, if I'm getting, let's be nice and say 100 Miami fans on away games. I mean, I guess, right? That's the only school that I would be worried about because their fans don't even show up to their own games. But I think fans travel more in 2024 going forward, obviously, than we give them credit for. Because college football is more of it's big business now. In football, the Big Ten has always been Ohio State, Michigan. Yeah. And you can sprinkle in Penn State every now and then, right? But Penn State can't beat Ohio State or Michigan, so it's hard to ever really consider Penn State. But I agree with that. How big of a coup would it be if the Big 12 was able to bring in FSU, Miami, and Clemson? That would be huge for the Big 12. Financially, my question is, would that make sense for those three schools? That would be huge for the Big 12 because then that would eliminate. I think if the Big 12 was able to pull something like that off, you now are this whole idea of it just going to be two big super conferences. I think the Big 12 puts a halt to that. If they were able to pull something like that off. And I think that's a good, Miami, Florida State, and Clemson, that's a great replacement for obviously Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, I think FSU should definitely take the best deal. I think North Carolina schools kind of get lost in some of this conversation. They could definitely see the North one. I don't think Notre Dame to the Big Ten will ever happen. Geographically, it's always made sense that Notre Dame should be in the Big Ten. And they have built-in rivalries in that conference. Notre Dame, Michigan, obviously. Notre Dame, Michigan State is a rivalry. Now with USC, Notre Dame, USC is a rivalry. I was about to ask a dumb question, but Stanford ended up in the ACC, right? I was going to say, where did Stanford end up? It makes sense. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. I think if the Big Ten wanted Notre Dame, and if Notre Dame wanted the Big Ten, it would have happened already. I don't think it's going to ever happen. Realistically, I think Pittsburgh, North Carolina, and Duke basketball-wise end up going to the Big Ten. Football, they go to the Big 12 or the ACC or the AAC. Interesting. I have a hard time seeing North Carolina in the AAC. If I'm North Carolina, I don't move. If I'm any of the Carolina schools, maybe with the exception of Clemson, obviously, as they are soon the ACC as well, I don't move out of the ACC. The ACC has pandered to the Carolina schools. ACC is Carolina. So why would I leave? If I'm North Carolina, I don't leave the ACC for the American Conference, unless you're telling me that the ACC had just completely implodes and they have no choice but to move. But if they have a choice, if I'm North Carolina, if I'm Duke, if I'm NC State, if I'm Wake Forest, I don't leave the ACC. We have a big fan base and alumni base outside the United States, but within the state of Florida, I don't think we have such a big fan base. Very interesting. North Carolina is staying in the ACC. Their ties to the conference, to the president won't allow them to leave. Just look at the statements they have made public. If I'm North Carolina, I'm not leaving. But many of the Carolinas, again, I'm not leaving. What's up, David? Yep. Agreed. So let's go to the Big 12. We spent a lot of time on that, which is fine. We can just chop it up. Like we're chilling. I'm not tripping at all. But I want to talk about the Big 12 because the Big 12 added. They lost Texas. They lost Oklahoma, but they brought some schools in. BYU being one of them. The year before, obviously, is UCF and Cincinnati and Houston. I'm actually surprised SMU didn't try to stay in the Big 12 or didn't try to go to the Big 12 as a way to kind of, maybe replace a Texas. Hold on, give me a second. Get out of here. I'm trying to find the other teams. I think Colorado is now a Big 12 school. The Big 12, I think, is the one conference with the new realignment that I think is up for grabs. So this is the Big 12 teams in football: Arizona State, the new teams, BYU, Colorado, and Utah. Out of all these schools, I think Utah is the favorite just because they've been the better program. But I think one of the reasons why Colorado was getting so much love, other than obviously people just falling in love with the hype that surrounds Deion Sanders, I legit think when you look at when you just look at the conference as a whole, you go, well, who's the favorite? Who's the favorite in the Big 12? Because I think the Big 12 is wide open. I think the Colorado has a legit chance if they can actually put it on the football field to maybe do something in the Big 12. But I got to say Utah would be the favorite just to start off the season. How does TCU bounce back after being in the national championship 2 years ago? I know Kansas has a pretty decent amount of hype. Their quarterback they have coming back. UCF being the lone Florida school there would be very interesting. As Gus continues, he brought in KJ Jefferson. So where does UCF kind of land in this mix? Because the Big 12's open, I think every team fits, right? I don't think there's a team that's going to necessarily struggle in the sense of fit. There's just going to be teams that struggle because they're bad programs, like Arizona State. Maybe Kenny Dillingham pulls it together. Arizona State's not a good program. I mean, BYU has been, I think, independent for a while. We'll see what Brigham Young does, but not a good program. Then you got your Iowa States. You got, you would think maybe Oklahoma State is in the mix there. You got West Virginia, whose coach was, probably did that coach end up getting fired? I know he was on the hot seat for most of the time. I don't remember if he got fired or not. So the Big 12 is a wide open. I don't want to call it a mess. I'm actually very kind of intrigued by the new lineup. But I could see, UCF, Cincinnati, maybe winning this conference. But if I had to pick, I would go Utah is the favorite. But I'm interested to see how TCU comes back, and kind of a lot of storylines going on in the Big 12. Which is what I think makes it a fun watch. That there's a lot of cool storylines in that conference, I think. POLK, I hope this is not a conspiracy theory, but people forget that Jim Phillips was also the Big Ten commissioner before I went to the ACC. I think he was set to the ACC to make that conference implode. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. CG says Utah should own that conference from the outset. Excuse me. I would agree, especially in year one. I would say Utah probably should be the favorite in that conference. No clear-cut favorite in the Big 12. I think it's UCF wins multiple Big 12 championships. I think the Big 10 or SEC comes with how big their alumni bases are in Florida. The Big 12 will be a fun conference to watch this year. Utah, K-State, OK State, Kansas should be a good year for the conference. So I'm tired of Colorado. They ain't been good since they had Ray Caruth. Utah to win the Big. UCF may upset someone, but I don't see UCF passing Utah, K-State, or Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is a big dog there. What do you think about Memphis sneakily problematic? Are we talking about on the trail? So there's been a lot of talk. What's up, Briley, by the way? Let me pause on that one. Let's finish the Big 12 conversation, and I'll go into this Memphis conversation because I think that is actually a pretty decent talking point. So again, but I think a lot of us have this. I think a lot of us have the same thought process on the Big 12. It's a sneaky conference. Like you could look at it and go, well, there aren't a lot of sexy teams in this conference, right? There's no sexy team in the Big 12. Now, I'll even go further. There's no sexy team in this conference. There's literally no blue blood or even blue blood-esque. Like if you were doing A being the blue bloods, B being maybe not a blue blood, but being, top tier college football program, I would argue that every program in the Big 12 is a C or below. But that doesn't mean it won't be a fun conference to watch. And I think I agree with what everyone's saying. Like Oklahoma State's a big dog in that conference, or they should be with the exit of Oklahoma. Obviously, Utah, who's the big dog in the Pac-12, now coming over to the Big 12. Utah should be one of them schools. You have TCU, who's recently played for Natty. So you have some teams in that conference. Cincinnati recently had a couple undefeated seasons or something like that. UCF has talent because they're in Florida and they've got some guys, and they're UCF's recruiting at a decent clip, right? There's a lot of good storylines in that conference. It's a fun conference, I think, for anybody to watch. It's going to be Pac-12 light, I think, in my opinion. Not a lot of defense. Like, off the rip, Utah will have the best defense in that conference, I believe, which is why I think Utah will win the conference. But you're talking about a lot of teams that's going to pass the ball a whole lot. And, yeah. So that's the Big 12. Now, I do want to get to the Briley conversation because I'm assuming Briley's talking about on the recruiting trail. And if you haven't been paying attention to Memphis, they've been very interesting on the trail. So Memphis has this FedEx deal or something, like FedEx endorsement, NIL. Whatever they got going on right now with FedEx seems to be working. There was a lot of smoke. FSU ended up getting Peyton Joseph to commit to them. But there was a lot of smoke that Memphis was in that recruitment. We know Memphis got the recruitment from a 4-star quarterback. I think it was Anthony Hill. It's off the top of my head. That Florida was pursuing, and he chose Memphis. Yeah, Anthony Hill. No. Was it Anthony Hill? Anyway, he chose Antoine Hill. I think I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm thinking not Anthony, Antoine Hill. Anyways, he chose 4-star quarterback. Pretty damn good recruit, by the way. Composite, he's top 200. And he chose Memphis over Florida, which a lot of people didn't see that coming. So, is it a problem for Florida State? I don't think so. As I don't think Florida State and Memphis are going to be recruiting the same kind of caliber of player. Where I would want to see is, does Memphis become a problem for Tennessee? Does Memphis become a problem for Kentucky? Right? Those teams that's kind of in their footprint, that's who they need to compete with. That's who they need to see if they can recruit with. Does the FedEx money stretch that far? So that's going to be the thing for Memphis going forward. I plan to be at the FSU. I wish I could. I would be if I was home. I would definitely be at that game. You think FSU needs to come with their A game against SMU? We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how SMU looks. I expect them to have a solid offense, but I don't know if SMU is going to be able to stop anything on defense for me to go that far. Obviously, if you're Florida State, you can't just go into their sleepwalking, but I won't go as far as to say a sneaky game. But we'll see. We'll see how that team looks. Take FSU and Clemson away from the ACC. I think you're speaking of the Big 12. Is if you take FSU and Clemson out of the ACC, it's kind of the same caliber of conference. You're probably right on that. David says he's from Muck City. Shout out to Belglade. He loves his Noles. We all love the Noles, baby. Go Noles. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So yeah, the Memphis thing is interesting. Matter of fact, let me look at Memphis's recruiting class right now. They're 77 on this is composite. Antoine Hill is by far the best prospect. And then you have to also wonder, it looks good now, but then you look at the recruiting class for Memphis and you go, okay, Antoine Hill is not only the best commit, he's by far the best commit. And you look at some of these guys they're recruiting and you go, ugh, it's pretty bad. For Memphis, I guess. For Memphis, right, this is probably solid. Does Antoine Hill want to stick with that? When the next highest recruit you have is Xavier Johnson, a 6-foot wide receiver, 165 pounds, and he is on the composite nationally ranked 430. All right, that's the next best guy you have. The third best player you have is a Pensacola corner, 6 foot, 170. And he's ranked nationally 921st. So at some point you have to ask yourself, or maybe Antoine Hill has to ask himself, am I really going to go to Memphis and play with this level of talent? I think it's a good move for him because he's probably going to go there as a freshman and play day one. And if he turns out to be as advertised, or at least show some flashes of talent, guess what he's going to do? He's going to go to a portal after a year or two and up the bag, cash out, and then he'll end up at whatever school that is, whether that's Florida or wherever. So I think it's a decent move for him. What's up, Peter? He's got the FedEx stock. Yeah, I hear that. So yeah, Lashley, we definitely got to come correct. We'll see what happens. Again, I think offensively they should be a decent team. My problem with SMU is if I just look at them last year and I go, I don't know, you know. I'm just looking at SMU's schedule from last year real quick. Trying to remember how many games they won. So they did go 11-3. I think I looked at the schedule before, and my problem with their schedule was they really didn't play anybody. And I get it. I get the conference that they played in. So I understand all that. But it was like every team they beat was trash, and then they lost pretty much to every team with a pulse. So you blow Louisiana Tech out of the water. That team finished 3-9 last year, right? And of course, you lose to Oklahoma. Now, granted, in the Oklahoma game, it's not like they got blown out the water, 28-11, but could have definitely been worse. Oklahoma was still figuring themselves out at the beginning of that year, right? Then you beat Prairie View A&M 69-0. Whoopee. Then you lose to Texas Christian 34. That's TCU, by the way. 34-17. A 5-7 TCU team, by the way, last year. So not a good TCU team. You got pretty much routed up. You beat Charlotte, a 3-9 Charlotte team. You beat East Carolina, a 2-10 East Carolina team. You see the trend? But you see what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of people are hyping up SMU, and I personally don't see it. You didn't beat any good teams last year. You beat Temple 55-0. Oh, guess what Temple's record was? 3-9. You beat Tulsa 69-10. Guess what Tulsa's record was? 4-8. You beat Rice. Do y'all want to take a guess of what Rice's record was? It was actually still a losing record, 6-7. What about North Texas? Since we're just 5-7. They didn't beat a team. They didn't beat a team with the winning record until they got to Memphis, who was 10-3. Navy 5-7. They beat one team with a winning record. Then they finally beat. They beat Tulane in the conference championship, which I guess is what gave everybody the hype. I think that's what gave everybody the hype, because Tulane went 11-3. I think Tulane at one point was looking to be. I think Tulane at one point was like decently ranked, like a top 15 team, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's what gave everybody the hype. But I don't see it. And then they lost to Boston College in their bowl game. So I'm sorry, y'all. I don't see the SMU hype personally. If you see it, cool. But when I go look at what they did last year, and you're telling me that I'm supposed to be worried about SMU, I'm just gonna say I don't worry too much about it. CG says the SMU game is going to be strength on strength. Our D is going to be the strength of the team. Our offense should be able to score on them, and I'm willing to bet our D can at least slow them. I think our defense should do more than slow them down, personally. SMU lost because I'm more worried about Memphis than SMU. The bowl game against Boston College showed me they're not ready for FSU. I mean, go look at the schedule. To me, that shows me they're not ready for FSU. We just went over it. Like 90% of that schedule, they lost to losing. I mean, they beat losing, like bad football. We're talking about bad football teams that they beat up on, and everybody's hyped about SMU for some reason. When we play SMU, last year we'll have coached against FSU on 3 different staffs in the past 10 years. Terrence, you keep lurking. Are you going to join the show, or are you just going to keep lurking in the background? What are you doing? You about to get fired, bro. Glad you're bored, because I enjoy. Hey, thank you. I enjoy you being here. Way too much SMU hype. I haven't paid too much attention to Memphis on the field. I don't know if Memphis has some on the field hype. Do they? Again, I know on the trail they're making a little bit of noise, not a ton. FSU Tony says, yeah, true. I hope we are past the having to worry about teams like. I think if anything, the last 2 years I think have showed you that, yeah, we are definitely past having to worry about teams like that. Now, at the end of the day, you still got to line it up on Saturdays, and anything can happen on any given Saturday. Injuries, whatever. Ever you can go into Dallas sleep, I don't know. But I think the last 2 years have showed you that they probably aren't going to lose to inferior football teams. That's the old Fuller getting blasted by Lashley, but our defense is the same. Well, our defense wasn't as talented. It just is what it is. We can't look at COVID, Fuller and Mike, and go, I think we're past that. Not think. I know pretty much. Give me a minute, Terrence.
What's good?
What's up, bro?
Not much, man. Glad to be back.
Let's see here. Where were we at? All right. SMU had the benefit of having guys more talent than their opponents. The grind of playing equivalent or superior athletes week in, week out. I agree. What do you think of you? Because I know you'll be at the SMU game, and I wish I could be there. What do you think about? Are you worried? Is there a worry about SMU? I don't understand the
Not at
SMU.
all.
I don't understand the SMU.
I don't think they're anywhere near our level as far as talent on the field. That's clear. And nothing about what they did last season makes me think, oh, wow, like they're ready to step up in talent level as far as competition. Like,
right.
And that's what they're doing.
Trash.
Like to sit here and talk about, oh, they're going to be better than Clemson and Miami, and they're going to be the team that we play in the ACC championship.
I mean, are they even going to be? Are they? I mean, they lost to Boston College, so are they even going to be better than
Boston College? Like,
are they going to be better than Virginia Tech? Are they going to be better than Pitt?
Like that's it's a lot of hype. I guess they're the new team, so people want something to come. Like it, I guess them coming and competing in the ACC will prove narratives, and that's why people are kind of pushing it so hard. That the ACC was always just so freaking inferior to every other conference, when in actuality they were one of the top 2 to 3 conferences every year.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to push. I mean, everybody likes Lashley. Like everybody likes what he does as far as his creativity on the offensive side of football, but it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter.
Yeah,
and yes, I will be there.
Yeah, if you don't have the horses, I don't see it. But that game's in September, right?
Yeah, September 27th.
I think I'll miss that game by a couple weeks.
Man, talk to somebody, man.
I need to. Get me home. But yeah, man, we just been talking about kind of random topics so far. So I don't know how long you were listening or if you listened to the whole thing. So
had to go run grab food, so I just hopped on, and that's why I put the eyes in there to try and catch on what y'all was talking about. I saw the SMU topic. It was like,
and then we talked about a little bit about Bronny James. We talked about just the new conference realignment and what teams may or may not struggle as in their new conferences. We've been all over the place, honestly. We haven't really focused much on Florida State, quite frankly.
I mean, who they say? Who was everybody saying was going to struggle with their new conference?
So, just to go back, I was saying that I think as far as we started with the SEC, and personally, I think both Oklahoma and Texas will be fine. I don't think they're gonna all of a sudden be bottom tier SEC programs. They'll be fine. They'll have good years. They'll have bad years, like all the SEC schools.
When did Kentucky and all those schools get better than them?
Right, exactly. So people act like the SEC doesn't have Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. Like there's still plenty of schools for Texas and Oklahoma to beat up on. Hell, Florida is another one that they can beat up on.
This is true.
Then we moved to the Big Ten, and I think the only team that I'm not worried about is Oregon. I think the other schools have a lot of questions. USC couldn't even dominate the Pac-12, so I don't know how USC is going to do.
Yeah, they're not.
Washington has to be more consistent. Like Washington was good last year, but let's not forget, 2 or 3 years ago, they were like a one-win football team or something like that. So Washington's got to be more consistent. UCLA has never really been good, so I don't know why they would all of a sudden be good. And then USC is struggling.
That's Washington's story. That's their cycle.
Yeah,
and they become competitive, and then all of a sudden they're a 2-win team 5 years later.
Yep.
So, and I feel like that's going to continue to be the case. UCLA, I don't understand why they can't. I never got them. I feel like that program was in a perfect location, perfect situation, but they never put it together. And USC ain't gonna compete with them boys. Nah, they'll be at best. They're gonna be Penn State.
Who?
At best, USC.
Oh, USC. Okay, I can see USC being in the Penn State category. I think I don't know what Pete Carroll had. I don't know what happened with Pete Carroll when he left, but they just haven't been the same caliber of program. Lincoln Riley started off hot, and now it seems like he's kind of fizzling out.
Maybe the people he brought weren't who we thought they were.
Maybe
Caleb Williams.
And then we went to the Big 12. And I pretty much said that should be a fun conference to watch because that conference is wide open. Anybody could win that damn conference.
Yeah.
I don't see a favorite.
Who's in there still?
Utah would be the favorite to me. So, man, you're going to make me pick. You got to make me bring up the Big 12 teams again.
Yeah, I'm bringing it.
But it was Utah, obviously Colorado now, both
Baylor.
the Arizona schools. I'm talking about just the new guys.
Oh, Colorado came back.
Of course, Baylor.
Colorado came back. UCF is there. I mean, yeah, anybody can win it.
You would expect Oklahoma State to maybe be like a favorite now that Oklahoma's gone.
I don't see why UCF won't compete.
I said UCF could be in the mix. I think I'm picking Utah as the favorite right now just because they were the big boys in the Pac-12. So I assume they'll still be the big boys in the Big 12.
I can see that. It makes sense.
Ronald says, I don't see why SMU or Memphis is being discussed as difficult games for FSU. I think people just like to pick like sleepers, and I get it, right? Sometimes we just like to pick like, is there a team that everybody's overlooking that could give Florida State some problems? SMU, I don't believe is that team. Memphis was pretty good last year, record-wise. I don't know. I didn't break down their schedule like I broke down. Here, let's break down.
I'm still not seeing Memphis.
I want to break down their schedule real quick. But Memphis is usually one of the better teams in the American Conference, to their credit. So at least they're consistently good.
They were 8-8? No, I'm sorry.
Last year they were 10-3 last year.
10-3.
They lost to Tulane. The SMU beat Tulane. I'm trying to see their best win. Their best win might have been the Boise game, and that was an 8-6 Boise team.
Lost to SMU.
Lost to Missouri. I didn't know Missouri was 11-2 last year. Damn.
They had some good wins too.
They did. I remember some of their good wins. I just didn't know they went 11-2. So that's not a bad loss. And they only lost to Missouri 27-34. So that's actually not a bad loss.
I'll say they didn't lose to anybody big. They didn't have any like blowout losses.
But their defense looks pretty shaky. I mean, they went 59-50 with South Florida. That's crazy.
Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way.
That's crazy. So we'll see.
They was putting on for ESPN probably. That was a homecoming game too.
That's a wild score with South Florida.
59-50 at homecoming. I feel like I watched part of that game. Did I watch part of that game? I feel like it was a crazy game.
I'll say that Memphis' schedule was a little bit more competitive than SMU's for sure. Because they scheduled Missouri, Boise State, South Florida. Then they had Iowa State in their bowl game, and they beat Iowa State.
Oh, okay.
But it's Iowa State, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
That was a crazy game. Sheesh. A lot of points getting put up.
SMU not difficult, but we can be the BC last year if they don't come ready to play. I think Mike gonna have us right mentally. Also more consistent, not avoiding slot wide receivers to feed 4. West Coast kids are pretty boys. They don't like to play defense, according to Zoe.
I mean,
Notre Dame
was never known for defense.
I don't know why people are like we talking about Memphis and SMU. Notre Dame's the game.
Yeah,
that's a legit team. Like that's the
I'd
game.
be more worried about the game in Ireland against Georgia Tech than.
That's gonna game one is an interesting game because you're going all the way to Ireland, and I know it's Georgia Tech, but just this is gonna be pretty much most of those kids' first time even dealing with time zones like that. Coming from a guy who travels in different time zones regularly, that jet lag is a real deal when you're talking about 8+ hour difference from what you're used to.
Body be thrown completely off.
Yeah, your body gets thrown off, and it takes you days to adjust to it.
Are they going out there a week early?
I don't know. Somebody in the comment section might actually know. I would hope they're not flying. Yeah, I would hope they're going like a week early. It just makes sense. And
then we got a week off before our next game, right?
Anything less than that, and there's going to be some guys sleepwalking in that game. I'm telling you. So that Georgia Tech game should be a concern, more so than these SMU and Memphis talk.
You know, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Not only is that Georgia Tech game a concern, that Boston College game right after is gonna be a concern on Labor Day because it's like a week later. Like there's no break to like really adjust and get a practice in back in the. So those two games might be.
Timeout.
He just talking nonsense, bro.
I know. The man said they put Memphis on the okay.
Oh man, this guy.
Of course, John thinks that's a fact, though.
Funny people. Kind of missed y'all. You guys are hilarious. But
so yeah. I'd be worried about that Georgia Tech game.
Zoe posted his record in NCAA.
That's exactly what he just did. Zoe's gonna go 7-5, y'all, in his dynasty. And I'm sorry for you, but it sounds about right.
Yeah, that's his best case scenario.
Yeah. Zoe's going to be struggling to make a bowl.
You're going to fight for bowl eligibility.
Yep.
Down to the wire. I hope y'all. It's on Heisman level, man. We ain't playing around.
Of course, it's on Heisman.
I am looking forward to that Notre Dame game, man.
FSU's got a pretty decent schedule. It's not anytime you play in the ACC, right? It's not like a crazy schedule.
My thing is this, man. I get that the SEC has some pretty great programs over there, but they got their gimme games, bro.
Well, every conference has games.
Like, so when people talk about like the gimme games that we have, there are a few games that are going to be top tier. We're going to play. We play teams like LSU. We schedule teams like Bama. We schedule teams like whoever we can get on there to make sure we have those like top tier games. And then we play the top teams in the ACC as well. And then we have our gimme games. We don't schedule too many out of conference games that really don't matter. So people kind of miss me with all of that.
You got the Georgia Tech game, the Boston College game, and then you go Memphis. Then you get Cal at home.
That's a good thing.
Then you go to Dallas on the 28th.
It's a lot of traveling early, man.
Then you got Clemson at home. Duke on the road. Miami on the road. North Carolina at home.
On the road?
Yeah,
that's
we go
to call that.
Well, yeah. Then November 9th. So you really have a very interesting stretch because Duke with Manny Diaz, it'd be interesting. They do have the Texas quarterback now over there.
Which one?
Murphy. He transferred to Duke.
Oh, okay.
Florida State has an interesting stretch actually when you look at this schedule. It's not as easy, I think, as people want to say, but it's not. So let's assume SMU's
this was not easy, bro.
Let's assume SMU is a quality team. I mean, you go on a stretch of SMU, Clemson, Duke on the road, Miami. I think North Carolina probably takes a step back.
Yeah.
But it's still North Carolina. They've been fairly good the last few years.
Then Notre Dame.
You get a gimme, and then Florida. So that's an interesting stretch for sure. I think that is definitely an interesting stretch.
And then we ended with an ACC championship game. Another quality opponent, so.
FSU 20 says worst case 9 wins. Georgia Tech doesn't have a D line. If we're gonna be a run first team, we shouldn't struggle against Georgia Tech. Again, this is about the time zone difference, not so much about the quality of the opponent. If we're gonna say that Memphis and SMU are, watch out games, I don't see how the first game of the year isn't kind of a watch out game.
We need to get there early, man. Like, to be honest, get there early, be prepared, get settled in, spend the money that we getting for it to make sure that the players are prepared. Because otherwise, you don't want to slip up early in a game like that, or be sloppy. First games are always sloppy, so you don't want to take the risk of being too sloppy.
Pretty interesting.
What does?
I think the schedule as a whole, I actually think lines up pretty interesting.
I don't think there's a part of the schedule where we breathe easy.
I agree. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of agree.
And people are still going to beat this schedule down and say whatever they want to say, and whatever. I don't really care about it.
I legit don't know if you take a breath until Charleston Southern, and that's not
until
November 23rd.
You don't, and especially if people are sitting here talking about the Memphis and
Memphis is supposed to be
SMU
really
are tough
football
games.
Yeah,
I mean, Cal's not a terrible program. They haven't been good. They're not a terrible program overall.
Cal might be the only maybe you take it easy. Maybe you can take it easy in the Cal game. That's the only game I'm looking at.
Take it easy how though?
Well, you have them at home.
But you
I don't
still
remember I don't know what Cal's record was last year. I don't think it was that good. But I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. Where'd they end up? They were 8th in the Pac-12, so not very good.
That means they weren't very good. Probably was like a 6-win team or something.
I can't. Why is it doing all this?
No, I don't want softball. Why did it go softball? Technology's whooping
6
around.
and 7. Yeah, 6 and 7.
I hit it right on the head. They were a 6-win team last year. So that's probably the one game. It's probably the one game early on where you go, okay, take a little bit of a breath. I'm still not bought in on SMU hype, but just to play devil's advocate, if y'all are telling me SMU is going to be a good team, that Florida State schedule doesn't have any legit gimmies, or it doesn't have any. I can just walk in and
And we don't have Stanford, right?
No,
we don't play Stanford this year. Yeah, I mean, and they lost to by a point to USC. They lost to Utah. They lost to Oregon State. They lost to Washington. They lost to
you gotta let that
Oregon.
go. Though. That's happening on every campus in the country. You gotta let that go. If you think that only Florida State players are not humble or walking around cocky,
you serious? You know how much money these kids making, bro?
Bro, it's 2024. They're all stop it. Just stop.
There's kids out there making more money than their professors, bro. And you think
just stop it. If Florida State needs to worry about being humble, then every team in the country needs to worry about being humble. Stop it. Team going 5-day early and starting 1 day after. That's what Noles said in here. Okay.
That sounds good.
Because it's going to take about the first 2 days to get acclimated.
And then the rush back is crazy. So I feel it. That makes sense.
Probably thinks Boston College, Duke, and UNC are all take it easy games. I don't know. Boston College still got the quarterback that gave us a hell last year, right?
Yeah,
I can't say that. I can't say that. Right? I thought that last year. He gave us hell and almost beat us. Definitely can't say that. Duke. I'm interested to see what Manny Diaz does with that defense that was left over from Elko. Manny can coach defense. And like I said, he went and got the Texas quarterback. And that guy showed flashes of being pretty good, Murphy. So Duke could be sneaky good. North Carolina, you might be right. I think that team takes a step back with no Drake May. I don't even know who the guy is that's replacing Drake May. I don't know what North Carolina's really got going on.
I don't think
could be right about North Carolina. The other two, I'm not so sure.
I don't think Drake May mattered enough for whoever
we never played Drake May, right? I don't think we ever played Drake.
I wasn't worried about him, to be honest.
I think we still will be very balanced. We will run to set up the pass, but DJ will have his best year yet. We'll see what DJ does.
That's not saying much.
I think we'll be a run first team, though, for sure.
And I don't think DJ having his best year yet is saying much, considering I don't think
man is stupid.
What he's done is. Hey, let them boys ride, man. We ain't Texas.
Yeah, them boys got Lambos.
Is it every 5-star gets a Lambo?
Something like that. I don't know.
That's insane.
UNC got Hampton. That's it. And as Zoe says, by the way, I'm going to dominate college football 25. Well, Zoe, I got to bring it out for you. That shit.
Hey, man, did you get some lemonade for that blackberry?
I did not. I was drinking it just straight last night.
Well, I got some here, but
my
some lemonade, bro.
I just found it yesterday. Like I couldn't find it nowhere in Korea, and I finally found it.
Save a little bit to put with some lemonade.
But somebody told me to get the Stella Rosa blackberry and some lemonade and mix it with that. And matter of fact, it was my wife that told me that.
Yeah.
And she said to take you to the moon.
But
she don't have a high tolerance for alcohol.
I'm about to say. Wait a minute.
One trip for her probably took her to the moon.
It tastes good, is what I'm saying. Like, but yeah. So I was like, oh, I don't recall her drinking too much, but okay. If she says so. All love, though. Man.
If the first time we lose to Duke is a Manny Diaz Duke squad in his first year with the brand new QB, we should shut the damn program down. You're not even wrong, Briley.
Not Manny Diaz.
You're not even wrong.
Dude.
He's not wrong at all. All right, so what's the next? Where are we going to?
Where your boy at? Talking about he was done paying. He's gonna be done paying.
He a Jersey boy now.
Is that what? I thought he was in Philly.
I thought he moved to Jersey.
Oh, I can't remember now. For some reason, I feel like somebody said Philly. It's one of them. Bought him a nice little house in a gated community. Last time we played UNC was with Sam Howell. Damn. I feel like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. It was really that long ago?
That had to be. Was that 2022? I think it might be 2022. That's true too. Old what's his name? Damn, I forgot his name that fast. Mike Brown. His ass can't beat Florida State. So that's true.
It's a good world we're living in.
Amon says, I feel like the Miami game is going to be our toughest game outside of Notre Dame. They like to play us close games. Well, let me get your thoughts. Not so much on our game with Miami. But what do you think about that Florida-Miami game?
I feel like that's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I hope they start scheduling this on a consistent basis again.
They need to. I don't know.
I don't understand why it's not, bro. It's everybody. People want to see this game, bro. Like, come on, man.
Miami and Florida.
Everybody want to see it.
Year. I don't understand.
Everybody in state want to see it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, play the fucking game. I don't know that they're both. I feel like they're both supposed to be in the same area. One of them supposed to make the jump this year. Is what they both are at that point where they think they figured it out. They've had their down years, and I think we're headed in the right direction. They got that mindset of like, we just got to start winning the close games now. I don't think either of them has the quarterback in place. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I don't think Florida has the quarterback in place to do it.
So let me stop you there, and then you can continue. But I'm going to play the devil's advocate. So I like Cam Ward. I know you like Cam Ward.
Yeah.
But here's my thing about Mertz. I don't think Mertz is some world beater. But you're talking about first game of the season. Has Cam Ward ever played in an environment like the Swamp? It will be turned up because it's Miami. And Mertz at least has been with that program a year to know the system. Mertz will know what to do. Will Cam Ward know what to do?
I don't know. I think
Cam Ward's a better quarterback, but if you told me Mertz was a better fit, like if you told me Mertz played better, like even if you look at Mertz last year, he didn't play bad. I know we like to give him slack because they're the Gators and they had another losing season. Mertz wasn't the problem. Mertz just couldn't win you games.
Mm-hmm. Did he play?
I don't know.
I'm trying to see what
I actually favored Florida in that first game, believe it or not.
You going with Florida in that game?
Just because all the things I just said. At home, crowd's going to be insane.
It is a Swamp, yeah.
It's Miami and Florida, so that's crowd's going to be nasty. Florida doesn't have all the losses. It's going to
get a little chippy too.
You know they're going to be talking trash. And I think Mertz just knows his system better than Cam Ward does.
So here's my other part, though. Cam Ward's played big time games though. He played against the number 2 team and played a close game. He's played against
who's the number 2 team?
Washington.
Was that on the road?
Was that on the road? I believe it was on the road.
Regardless of it was not. I don't want to knock Washington.
It's still Washington.
It's not the Swamp. It's just even if it was on the road, it's not the Swamp.
Oh no, they played that at home. Let's see. Okay, was that Oregon that they played away?
Oregon's probably the closest thing you could say to be in the Swamp.
Nope, they played at home against Oregon.
So there you go.
Yeah.
I like how Briley kind of breaks it down here. Talent versus continuity. And I'll take continuity in game 1. Talent will maybe win out in the long term. I think Miami will have a better record than Florida. Partially because Miami's schedule is also a lot easier. I do think Miami's more talented than Florida, top to bottom.
Hey,
but I don't know how that team comes together in game 1 in that environment.
Was Cam Ward working out with Shador?
Yes.
They was in Miami, right?
Was it in? It probably wasn't.
It looked like they was in Florida somewhere.
I don't know where they were working out at. I do know he was working out with Shador and some other guys.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, just his personality. I had never seen that about his personality. Like, how he was kind of his I don't even want to call it shit talking. Like, he was kind of pushing everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's kind of like, that's interesting.
It's gonna be interesting to see how all that plays out. Because from all accounts, from what we heard about, like TVD wasn't that type of guy. So
yeah,
that's all going to be interesting to see how that does play out for that team.
But did they have a whole roster of guys who weren't that type of guy? Like, really?
Apparently,
like, is that?
If you ask Miami fans, none of those guys were leaders.
Nobody was a leader at all. Y'all had 100 and some people, even sometimes you even get a walk on who pushes people. Like, nobody. Like, damn. And these some great athletes they had out there too, and none of them had that kind of. So, and I mean, the other part was how many other Hurricanes were out there working out with him was my question. That was the other part that I didn't really necessarily see anybody that stood out. I was like, wait, is that? Oh, he's a Hurricane, so that's cool. He out there working out with his receivers, but neither here nor there. I probably take Florida in this game too. When it comes down to, I feel like
I agree with that too, though. Florida, if they even want a chance of making a bowl game, they have to beat Miami. Florida still has to play UCF. They still have to play Georgia, obviously. They still have to play Texas, LSU. Like Florida has a murderer's row of the schedule. If you lose to Miami, you're probably going 4 straight years. 4 straight years losing season at Florida if you can't beat Miami. Like, you probably need that Miami game just to make a bowl game.
Damn, they schedule nasty.
It's nasty.
It is possible they could come out with 3 wins.
That Drones kid from Virginia Tech is a very interesting quarterback, man. I am going to be watching him very closely to see if he takes that next step.
But all right, so Florida definitely can beat Samford. But when we get into Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee.
Oh yeah, Tennessee, of course. I'll give them Mississippi State as a win, which was go down the schedule, and I'll tell you win or loss.
All right, Miami, loss.
I'm gonna say a win.
Win.
I'm saying
right.
Florida
Samford.
Win.
Texas A&M.
That's a 50-50.
We'll come back to it.
First year.
Mississippi State.
That's a win. Mississippi State's a win.
UCF.
I'm gonna have fun with this one. Say a loss.
Tennessee.
I hate this because Florida always beats Tennessee.
Did they lose last year?
No, they beat them last year. They blew them out last year.
Yeah, and it looked like they were going to be able to compete, and then they returned back to what they were.
Always beat Tennessee. I don't know what it is about the Vols. They can't beat the Gators. I'm going to say an L, though.
Kentucky.
They can't. They always beat Tennessee, but they can't beat Kentucky. Probably another L.
Georgia, L.
Yeah.
Texas, L.
Yeah.
LSU, L.
L.
Ole Miss,
L.
Florida State, that's 6.
That's a big L. So they're gonna close the season on
with 6 L's.
They have to beat Miami, man.
And then
they have to win their first 6 games.
Dude, their best case scenario is being a 6-win team.
That's what I'm saying. They best case scenario is 6 wins.
Like, and that's them beating Miami. That's them beating.
And that A&M game, I think, is a 50-50 game. Only because it's Elko's first year.
But I think you called out 8 losses, by the way, just so you know. 7 or 8 losses you called out.
Probably did. Yeah, because they will lose to either Miami or UCF. I think they'll beat Miami game 1 and probably lose to UCF.
I can see that.
Which is good. Is UCF on the road or at home? You know, it's probably knowing the Gators. They got UCF at home.
It is at the Swamp, so they could probably win that.
Yeah, probably. They might get that.
But I mean,
KJ Jefferson has beaten them, and he's the new quarterback at UCF. So,
come in and smack him in the face. And I mean, the Swamp is the Swamp, but some of these kids don't really care about that stuff nowadays, bro. and I don't know. I don't want to say the fans aren't like the fans used to be, but really, I think that in-person effect that fans have that they used to have back then isn't the same as it is as far as like how they have the effect online. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, I just think when I'm talking about this, like the crowd noise matters in the sense of play calls. These rivalry games, kids get a little antsy, which means offsides and all these things and false starts. So those are the kind of mistakes that we kind of overlook them. But a lot of times when you go, especially in a close game, if you go look at, you go, damn, this team was about to get off the field, and then they got and here we are. They scored.
Who can get off the field without shooting themselves in the foot?
They were about to get off the field. The defense was about to get off the field. And they jumped off sides, and then that team went down and scored. So that's those little things like that sometimes can be the difference in the ball game, is what I'm saying. So that's why I think the swamp matters. Not so much of like, just the kids are really concerned about the crowd so much.
Vegas got them at 5.5 wins.
I think there's a good chance Billy is fired. What I will say though, if they think they're going to lose Lagway in the process, they might not fire Billy. The last thing you want to do is fire Billy. Well, the last thing you want to do is fire Billy and lose your 5-star quarterback who's supposed to be the future of your program. I don't know if that.
But keeping him does what?
It keeps Lagway on the team, and maybe you have a situation where Lagway changes the program. Maybe Lagway's the next Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, Jameis Winston.
Is he? I mean, I'm
not saying he is.
I need to look at him.
No, but he was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school last year. Maybe I
need to take a look, man. I don't know.
That's why I asked about Miami having Von Tech in week 5. I think there's a real possibility that Miami starts 3-2. If they lose to Florida, that would crush the mojo even in Morale Gables. I think Virginia Tech is a very interesting team for Miami on their schedule.
Now I gotta look at that schedule. Well, let me load it up on the Florida teams I see.
I'm not too sure what you're trying to say here, Category 5. I think I've been very fair when talking about this Miami-Florida game. I don't think I've been hating. I think I've been very shooting straight on this one. But I get it. It's not what you want to hear because you're a Miami fan. If you're UF, what do? Fire Billy, risk losing the talent. That's what I'm saying. Do you fire Billy and risk losing? Because you can say what you want about Billy, but he's recruiting pretty well. Do you fire Billy and then LJ McCray hits the portal and DJ Lagway hit the portal and all these guys that you brought in that you banking on? Exactly. Yeah, I'm doing this too. I'm just saying.
Fire Billy.
Florida, do you do that?
But the other side is obviously if he's is he the coach to really lead that talent?
Yeah, Florida's in a tough position.
Because with the way the portal is, these kids transfer wherever the hell they want to. So at some point, you keep them and you get Lagway to come in, and Lagway be like, y'all.
What I think Florida will do, what I think might happen is they probably don't fire him mid-season. What you do if you're Florida, even if Billy goes 5-7, you wait and see, do guys hit the portal? If you're going 5-7 and your top guys are hitting the portal after a losing season, you might as well get rid of Billy at that point. It don't make sense to keep him. That's kind of how I look at it. Man, always doing something at 11 o'clock at night.
Who?
Jerry, go look at the messages. I seen some UF fans on Twitter talking about they are drunk, high, something.
And the Hurricanes got like 5 games against teams in Florida. That's crazy.
What's going on, Momo? Bronny says I disagree on Napier. Next year's schedule is just as hard. All that changes is the home and away. I think Florida's gonna let the dead man walk through 2025.
At what point do you start Lagway? Somebody said he should start him. At what point do you start him?
Well, he's depending on how Mertz looks. You either redshirt Lagway this year, get ready to start day one next year.
Well, you can play 4 games.
If Mertz is struck, here's the thing: the schedule's a murder gauntlet. So what's the point of throwing Lagway out there to get destroyed? Let Mertz get destroyed. He doesn't have a future anyway. He's not like he's going to be an NFL pick, I don't think.
No.
Let Mertz go out there, get destroyed, and you start Lagway day one next year. Makes no sense to throw him out there as a true freshman on this schedule. Just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Would I accept Lagway? Well, I think I like Luke.
No, we got Luke. We good.
We got Luke Cromer-Hope. I think we all right, and we got Jackson.
Trevor Jackson.
Yeah, I think we all right.
We good at quarterback, man. We don't. For once, I don't think we don't. We don't have to look into the portal. I don't think coming up. I don't think there'll be any looking at quarterbacks in the portal this upcoming year. Unless like freaking, we in the running for what's the Manning boy? If we got in the running for what's his name, Manning?
Arch.
Like, Arch Manning. Even him, I don't. There's nobody out there. I think that as far as quarterbacks.
I'm good at quarterback right now.
Insane.
Yeah, no, I'm good at quarterback. I would take it like, but if LJ hit,
LJ McCray get out there.
Snacking him up as soon as it hits the portal, if that ever happens, that you got to go make that move. What's going on, Jen? Jen says, I've got Miami beating Florida because Mario's coaching. Sorry, not sorry. Well, hell, Mario, Billy. Pick your poison there.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They both can recruit, though.
That's what I'm saying. They both recruit, but
I don't know about the on-field product.
That's what I'm saying. I think the coaching's probably even in that game. I just give a lot of the home field advantage stuff to Florida. I'm not even sure what staff is better between Miami and Florida because they're both kind of Miami's defense. I will say that if Miami's defense doesn't show up to play in the swamp, then that's going to be very glaring because Miami is expecting to have a pretty good defense this year. I don't know where Zay is, but Zay said they got a top 5 front 7 in the country, or whatever it was. He said something crazy.
Top 10 front 7, yeah, something like that.
So,
front 7. Who they linebacker? I knew they got that one boy at linebacker. Ray
Maligoa.
Yeah, he's still there, right?
Yep, he's still there.
Yeah. And I guess they still on the bench.
Yeah, and we got Brock Glenn, of course. Like I said, we good at quarterback.
You mean ACC champion?
Yeah, ACC champion.
That Brock Glenn?
Yep.
Just a reminder that he outplayed. Who was that guy? Don't matter. He outplayed him.
Oh, the guy at Louisville. I forget his name, but he wasn't no good.
In his first ever start.
Yeah, he wasn't no good.
He came in, won the ACC championship game. Got himself a ring.
UF will close the season without Napier. So John thinks Billy's going to get fired. Again, that's an interesting discussion to have because I can see both. I can see an argument for keeping him and firing him. Now, I think Bronny made a good point. Like, the schedule is no better next year. So what's the point?
I mean, maybe somebody said they could keep open at Lagway's the next Cam Newton.
Yeah, sure. Mario taking a knee in the swamp. I better take
at halftime.
Better take a knee somewhere. Damn it.
At halftime.
He couldn't take a knee in Atlanta. Well, no, I think they had Georgia Tech at home. He didn't even have to take a knee in the Hard Rock. So I don't know.
Hey, who do that keep posting? He done posted like 180 times.
And he's been doing it like every day on Twitter.
Yeah, every day.
He's done like 180 days running.
Hey, I love it.
If Billy beats Miami, he stays.
What about the other 11 games?
I think the bigger question is if Mario loses that Florida game. I mean, how do you feel as a Miami fan?
Oof. Can a Miami fan answer that?
Jack Plummer. That was the Louisville quarterback was Jack Plummer.
Yeah, I saw him playing the Senior Bowl. He was trash there. Out here in Texas.
They still have that other running back, Jones. They still have him, I think.
Don't you think it's interesting that Etienne went to Georgia though? There's no loyalty anymore, like as far as that goes, like as far as rivalries.
No, I think the fans care more about the rivalries than the players do.
Oh yeah,
which is unfortunate.
Because there was a time
some of the players care, but yeah, I don't know.
But now Hurricanes coming to Florida State players going to Miami.
I forgot Riley Leonard was the quarterback at Notre Dame. That actually makes me more confident in that Notre Dame.
That's a dub. Look at this man dropping the information that makes decisions around here.
That actually makes me more confident because Riley Leonard is not. I mean, he can run, but he's not impressive as a passer.
He's not a threat. I got Pat Payton shutting him down.
What's you back there crying about?
I don't know, bro, but that's a grown woman at this point. So
Miami fans have already convinced themselves that the UF game doesn't matter. Have they? Miami fans really going that route?
What? Why would an in-state game not matter?
My thought process is they think because the rest of the schedule is easy, you can lose that game and still win like 9-10 games probably.
They might lose the USF. What you mean?
Who? Miami?
Yeah.
No, I don't think
they got other in-state games to worry about.
Well, they're not losing to FAMU. I don't think they're losing to USF, to be honest with you. If Mario loses to the Bulls, he should be fired after that game. I'm just going to say that right now. If you find a way to lose to the South Florida Bulls, you should probably get fired.
I will say I just looked at the rest of their schedule. It is kind of easy as fuck, though.
Yeah, they schedule
like Ball State, USF, Vatech, Cal, Louisville, us. That's a loss. Duke should be a tough one for them.
Duke is interesting. Virginia Tech game is interesting.
Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Syracuse.
I mean, you lost to Georgia. You found a way to lose to Georgia Tech, so that game still will be.
They found a way.
So there's some games, just like if you look at our schedule, there's some games you can look at Miami's schedule and go, but they should be the most talented team in most of their games.
They should not go.
They shouldn't go. They should be a 9 and at worst a 9-win team.
9-3.
Yeah, at worst they should be a 9-win team. The problem is games have to be played.
Oh yeah, knees have to be taken.
FSU's offense will be average at best. The spring game was a joke. The fact that you're using the spring game to talk about ball just tells me all I need to know. Category. Again, you're so hostile, and I haven't said anything bad about Miami other than facts.
Appreciate you being here, though.
Yeah, please hit the like button. Momo says Notre Dame is going to catch us slipping. 11-1 this year and making the playoffs. I think 10-2 can get you in the playoffs too, honestly. Just first of all, you just got to win your conference.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
First and foremost.
Competing with the ACC. So that's where it is. I'm not worried about the extra slots. Because how many teams is it this year?
It's 12-team playoff.
That's a lot of teams.
Bronny,
I'd like to get that by, though.
How many of the last 3 years did you say that about FSU's offense because Jordan Travis was the QB? He was glorified running back. Again, he's so hostile. I don't know why he's so mad.
The future of the New York Jets, Jordan Travis.
He's so mad. Category 5, he said the spring game was a joke. I don't know if he even watched his own spring game.
Attendance shows he probably didn't.
But if you're using the spring game to judge your season, Riley coming off the ankle surgery, didn't play spring for Notre Dame. And then that's why I say Miami can recover if they don't win. UF needs so I don't disagree with you there. Florida needs to beat Miami because if they don't beat Miami, like we just already broke down their schedule, they're 6-16 at best, and that's with beating Miami. You don't beat Miami, that's your 4th straight losing season. What is this?
No.
Get off of here. Let me get this guy out of here. All right. I had to block him.
Well, I like what he said. That would be fun.
What's that?
To beat Miami twice in the same year.
I mean, I feel like we're due for
what, a Florida State Miami ACC championship game?
Yeah, like that was the whole selling point at one point of bringing Miami to the ACC, right?
At least before we leave, yeah, that would be nice.
So it would be nice to before we leave, maybe for Miami to live up to their end of the bargain. And
what was their
actually make the ACC title game?
They made it. No, they made it.
They only made it once. I think.
Nah. Did they not go though?
No, they made it once. That year they won 10 games with Manny. I think they lost.
Oh, they lost like 58-3.
They lost to Clemson in the ACC title game.
58-3, right?
Then they had another year where they qualified, but they kept themselves out due to self-imposed sanctions. Not NCAA sanctions. Miami likes to say we were under sanctions. You were under self-imposed sanctions because of the whole Shapiro nonsense. And you were trying to soften the blow there.
Man didn't even go to jail for that.
But shit, look at the way college football is now. That man be a hero right now.
Ooh, big boss man. This guy, whatever.
So I don't want to talk about like Miami no more. We can move on to something else.
Definitely.
I'll get your thoughts on this. John Shield he's trying to be funny, but I'll actually ask you about the linebacker recruiting. I haven't really got your take on it. How do you feel about missing out on Tavion Wallace and the other?
I thought that was a lot.
I think a lot of people were really confident about that.
I have a foregone conclusion. He was part of the class, and I don't even put it away that he might not down the line come back. I don't close the door on it. Just because where he went
to. It's Arkansas, right? It's Arkansas.
Yeah, it's Arkansas. So outside of that, I mean, we knew this was going to be the case. Like it's been what, Randy, like it's just what he does, bro. But I thought Ernie was going to have an impact on this in some way. I thought Ernie was going to be more hands-on with the recruiting process, and I wonder if he is or isn't. If he is, I'm more worried.
Do we have to give Ernie more time?
What do you mean?
He ain't been here a year yet. He just got here this offseason.
I get it. And that's why I'm saying I was hoping he would be a little bit more hands-on.
I remember not too long ago, people were calling for Pat Surtain, and hadn't coached a full year at Florida State, and recruiting got off to a little bit of a slow start. And people are like, "Oh man, Pat ain't it." Now Pat's the best recruiter on your staff.
That was never me.
Almost. I'm not saying it was you. I'm just saying, are we gonna give Ernie, assuming Ernie Sims is like involved in some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, you give him a chance.
You got to give him a chance. I still think
he was. Like a couple months ago.
He was brought. I think he was brought here to replace Randy eventually. The question is, how long is Randy going to be around?
He'll be gone next year.
I don't think they're going to fire him.
Find another spot for him. Find another spot for him then.
I don't know what they're going to do.
But I feel it because he has 2 years left at like $400,000 or something, right? He has a pretty pity that we got to pay him.
Jen thinks he's going to Georgia. I mean, it makes sense. He's a Georgia kid.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think he sticks with Arkansas either. So
those kids don't.
But we're not out of it.
Once Georgia locks in on a Georgia kid, they usually don't miss. That's a lot of linebackers Shannon has missed on. Hey, y'all already know my take on it.
And then we got what? 2 blue chippers? That's it?
In the linebacker room?
Nicholson and who?
That's it. If you're not counting Murphy, because if you're counting Murphy, then it's Nicholson and Murphy.
Nah, you don't count
Murphy's a transfer guy, right? If you're counting if you count who he's just brought in from high school, Blake is by far and away, recruiting ranking wise, the best prospect. It goes Blake, and then it landslides after Blake Nicholson. I think Omar Graham's the next up, and he was like a 400 or 500s or something like that coming.
Yeah, I thought he was in like 300-400s or something.
So
he's a good player, but
I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying. What up, Kay?
What's good, Kay?
Mark thinks FSU can do better than Ernie at linebacker coach. I have to see more of it before I go that route. Is my problem with
why
we haven't seen it. I know
I
Ernie
don't
at different schools, so maybe you're judging Ernie at USF and Ernie at some of the. I think he even coached at UCF, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe you're judging Ernie Sims off of those other 2 stops. I want to see Ernie with the FSU logo behind him, and then we can talk.
That's different.
I ain't seen it. Yeah, I ain't seen it long enough for me to say that.
They did go 0-for-3 though.
Yeah. And if they don't get Ty Jackson, they're gonna go 0-for-4, and then I don't know. I don't know where you go from there. Maybe Shannon moves on. The Arkansas staff gets canned. We hire Arkansas linebacking coach and get Wallace in the deal.
I think there's more at play than the Arkansas linebacker coach, so I don't know what that makes sense. But nah. I stick with Ernie. I want to give Ernie a shot.
I do too. I want to give him at least a shot before I go, okay, Ernie, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we did get a 4-star, didn't we?
What, linebacker? We have a 4-star currently committed.
No, 2024. Oh, he's 2025?
That's currently committed, Pritchard, yeah. 2024, we didn't recruit a 4-star linebacker.
Nothing.
I don't even think
Jaden
we recruited
Parrish
a
was
linebacker.
a 3-star. Jaden Parrish.
Yeah, Parrish was the only linebacker
small
we got.
guy.
And he was, we didn't recruit no 4, bro.
Jaden Parrish and Hickman Collins.
Bro, and look at their rankings coming out of
6'1", 210 guys.
I don't mind the size per se, but just look at the rankings, and then you come back and talk to me. Again, Blake Nicholson, by far and away the best prospect we've signed. A lot of people don't even give Randy credit for that. They give Garrett Yee all the credit for that commit. So Tony says the kick return this year is going to be elite with Lucas and Span.
Lucas is going to be.
I'd be forgetting Span even on the team still sometimes.
Ain't he like a 6-year senior?
Something like that. Josh says the recruiting problem is on Mike because he won't address the problem.
I mean,
I don't necessarily disagree.
should he get involved more?
So you got to ask yourself: is Mike letting Adam Fuller control that, and he's simply focusing on the offensive side of the ball?
I don't trust Adam Fuller. The fuck?
but that's what I'm asking, right? Is Mike letting?
And if
Fuller,
he's doing that, if Mike is doing that,
people,
then he's making a mistake in allowing Adam Fuller to do that.
Because when you look at the offensive side of the ball, there's not a position like what. There's not a position on the offensive side of the ball where you go, man, FSU just can't recruit. All the positions are recruiting pretty well. Quarterback, running back, O-line, tight end now. All of a sudden,
tight end look good.
Right? Now all of a sudden we can recruit
look good. Like what?
And even wide receiver. We might not land.
They got a couple power forwards out there at tight end. They got some boys.
We haven't been able to close it on the 5-star receiver at wide receiver, but we're still recruiting. Yeah, we're still recruiting pretty damn good receivers. So offensively, we all right. Defensively, secondary's killing it.
Yeah.
Secondary's killing it.
Ain't nothing to worry about with
Odell has his moments. He got 2 good guys this cycle. We'll see if we
gotta hold on to him.
JP right now has a good one committed. I give JP credit. He usually is all right recruiting.
So, I mean,
but that linebacker room has been what it is for a while now.
Terrible. I think our linebacker room is what separates us from being a clear-cut championship caliber team compared to other schools.
Well, I had to push back on people saying that linebacking isn't important in today's game. Well, Florida State runs a 4-2-5.
What?
Linebackers aren't important. If your linebackers aren't important, is it a premium position? Maybe not.
But right? You still need good motherfuckers to play.
But until you show me Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama have the linebacking strategy that we have right now, until you show me that, I don't want to hear linebacking.
So are Georgia linebackers not good? Or Alabama linebackers not good? Or freaking those guys are ballers, man. They get to the ball. They make sure that you're not getting the easy yards. You need guys to do that. You don't have guys who are taking care of that assignment. Your DBs ain't locking stuff up because now the middle of the field is weak. And the run game is weak. And now your DBs got to creep up. Your safeties can't play deep. Like, no. You got to have linebackers to step up. You got to have your defensive tackles. You got to have some big, fat, 6'7" people at DT clogging up the middle like those schools do. It's just the way it is, man. Like, and then you need linebackers to eat up everything else. Then you can worry about how great the DBs that Surtain are recruiting are. But yeah, we need linebackers.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of different takes that are trying to, I don't know if justifying the right word, but trying to say, hey, man, the recruiting isn't that big of an issue at linebacker. I wholeheartedly disagree. The linebackers are vital to the postal. I mean, hell, they are the quarterback sort of the defense, and we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they can continue to address it in the portal. I don't know. I do like the portal class of backers we brought in this year.
What is John talking about, bro?
John Shields, he's a Gator fan. I mean, he's a Hurricane fan. He's always talking. He's talking probably crazy. What do you say? Y'all talking about
linebackers, man.
Because they're concerned. We have a better roster than Noles. What are you talking about? I'm talking about linebackers right now. I spent the first 45 minutes talking about the conference realignment.
All about the Gators and the
little Florida Miami segment was only a small segment of the two.
Do the Gators have a better roster too? Like, does SMU have a better roster? Like,
John, what are you talking about?
What did you say?
The Florida Gators and the Miami segment was like a small portion of this 2-hour-long live stream so far. So I don't
Make sure you hit the like button, though, John.
I don't know what you got going on there. But yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I felt, and like I said, I like Blake. I like the idea of Sean Murphy. And I
Yeah,
like
I
what we
love
brought
the,
in
I
through the
love the
portal.
idea of him too. Just from what I'm hearing, it's not maybe there's a reason he didn't play at Bama. From what I'm hearing.
Oh, are we hearing anything? And then I mean, we brought in Cam Riley too.
I'm
think
excited
we're
to see Cam Riley. I'm excited to see. Believe it or not, Lundy. I think actually getting him back was kind of crucial.
oh, that's awesome, man.
When you look at the room.
There's some continuity there, and I think he's going to take it.
Blake Nicholson's got a. I think we got to see it from him this year. We need to see it from him, should I say?
And then I even like our edge rotation at this point.
My D line, I'm not worried about my D line at all.
Like our edge, our
I'm a little worried about the depth and the interior of it. If we sustain some injuries in the interior of the D line, I get a little worried.
I feel like we might have discussed this a little bit, but what's Amarion Cooper gonna play? Do we know like where he's at?
He's back at safety.
He's at safety, right?
I guess.
I'm fine with that.
He's gonna be a rotation guy.
That's fine.
I haven't heard definitively, but if Hussey's not a starter next to Shaheem, I don't know what we're doing back there, quite honestly.
He has to be. I mean,
but I've heard different things about Devontae.
Devontae who?
The guy we got from Miami.
Doing what?
Playing safety. Like not only playing it, but like maybe starting next to Shaheem Brown.
No.
Like, I'm okay with him being in a rotation, but when we start talking about some of these guys starting, like I don't know, Conrad Hussey didn't kill you enough as a freshman. I don't know what else he got to do.
He played really well, man.
Yeah,
I'd be disappointed to not see him get the shot to start.
Honestly, I like my starters on the defense as a whole. I just worry about some of the depth. Mainly at linebacker. Like if you tell me my linebackers are a rotation of Cam, Lundy, and Blake, and so you could sprinkle in the fourth guy. Maybe it's Murphy.
Omar.
Maybe it's Cryer. Maybe it's Omar. I'm cool with that. If we sustain any injuries in that group, then I start to be concerned about who's getting what snaps.
Yeah.
And then on the interior D line, I think Jackson and Farmer and Daniel Lyons probably is okay. I mean, we got to see him take the next step. I mean, that kid we got from Colorado State, he gives you some snaps. I think he's just the guy, though. But if you sustain an injury to either Jackson or Farmer, I don't know. I'm really concerned about where you get those other snaps from. That means Sampson. That means Daniel Lyons are going to be asked to really step up.
Yeah, I don't think Grady Kelly is that dude.
Anybody who's saying he's the next Fisk has lost all their marks.
Yeah, they tripping. And I'll be very honest. I didn't know Fisk was the guy he was. I didn't. I thought he was solid or whatever, and I heard he's been playing. And then when he got out there, motherfucker was.
Yeah.
I
was high on him because I saw the motor when I watched him play at Western Michigan.
Yeah.
He had a motor, and I was like,
with
the talent around him, I just thought he would stand out, and he did more than stand out. He was probably the second best. You could argue by the end of the year, he was the best defensive lineman on the entire team. You could argue he was better than Verse at points.
He was. There are points that you could argue with who was the better.
Yeah.
And Verse benefited so much from playing with him.
They benefited so much from each other.
Oh my God, the Rams got a steal.
Absolutely.
Oh,
and the Rams paired them up. The Rams, absolutely, they benefit.
It's gonna be nasty.
So
they will have.
When I said Fisk might have been a bigger addition than Keon, people thought I was crazy, but that's what I saw.
When it came down to it, he was.
Yep.
Last year, he definitely was. He was a bigger addition. Now, mind you, Keon's still great. It was great having him.
Keon started off really hot, but the offense bogged down at times.
Yeah.
But that defense finished again. Don't want to bring up open old wounds, but not getting a chance to see that defense in the playoff is a tragedy.
Yeah. And
John
then
Steele, Miami's a rival. We talk about this because they're a rival. Been talking about Miami for the past 20 years, and we won 13 in the last 17. Ain't nobody scared.
oh my God.
Yes, it is. I've talked about that repeatedly about not signing. I don't know what happened to this program. I don't know how we went from Marvin Jones Sr. to Derek Brooks to Sam Cowart, Ernie Sims.
What was my boy?
Kendall Pope, Buster Davis,
Buster Davis.
Like I can Nigel Carr, Nigel Bradley. Like I can list off a name of guys, and now all of a sudden we can no longer recruit a backer worth a damn anymore. And I don't want to say that to disrespect the guys that we currently have.
Isn't Ernie Sims still our highest rated all-time recruit?
I believe he is, yeah.
That was crazy. Boy, was a beast.
I think our safeties have a ton of depth.
We even got guys coming. Got guys in the rookie.
Ashton Barker kid. Adam was Devontae. What's that? The kid that we got from Miami.
Yeah.
Devontae or whatever.
Conrad,
Cooper back. Shaheen, Conrad. I mean, that's 5 deep right there. And then that's not even counting the freshmen that you brought in.
Kai Bates.
And Kirkland is also a safety, so there's 6. And then again, we're
good in the secondary.
Upperclassmen, and then the freshmen. So a safety,
we're good in the secondary.
We have safety. DN, we have plenty.
We have the depth. We even got a kid from West Virginia.
Bro, DN is Pat, Marvin Jones Jr., Duraje, the Samoan. You still got Byron Turner. You still got Jaden Jones.
Damn, Jaden Jones. You know, I always want to see Jaden Jones on the field, man. I liked him.
When his boots still got Lamont, he's still got Lamont Green Jr. boots. We'll see. I think he probably needs another year of some weightlifting before we get him out there. Dante Anderson's another one. You got plenty of DNs.
Anderson's gonna see more of the time than Boots, but that's if he does. Like, I mean, that's if he does. Brian Allen, Tommy Pollard, and Bradley Jennings. That was a nice little. So
maybe I disagree with you here, Sportsmart. I agree with your first part. I think the floor is definitely better. I think the ceiling can be just as high, if not better, because I think, with all due respect to Bethune and Deloach, I think a guy like Blake Nicholson might just be he probably has the highest ceiling out of all the guys that we name. Murphy, if he can put it together, he has the ceiling that's higher than all the other guys we name. I think our ceiling can be just as high, just a matter of guys putting it together. Terrence, did you freeze? Or did I freeze? Can y'all hear me? Because Terrence is frozen on my screen. He's got his mouth open and he's just sitting there. Of course they were just bodies, man. They were just freshmen. Yes, they were just bodies. They were freshmen. I don't know. Maybe did we expect? So y'all can hear me. So Terrence froze. Okay, so y'all can still hear me. We'll see if Terrence comes back. If FSU would have made the playoff last year, they might beat Michigan because they don't run the ball. They might have beat Michigan because they don't run the ball very well. Michigan didn't run the ball very well, or Florida State didn't run the ball very well. Yeah, I don't disagree. He's got they all, but I think we have the DNs. Terrence is in the transfer portal, right? Yeah, and then Cam Riley, who I think is, I don't know if Cam Riley's better than Deloach or Bethune. In terms of ceiling, he maybe he's on par with them, maybe he's a notch below. I don't know. I want to see Cam Riley more so in our system and how we're gonna plan to use him. But I'm definitely not forgetting about Cam Riley. Right, we need Sean Murphy to kind of. It would be great, either Sean Murphy or Blake. I'm kind of putting more of my stock in Blake. Okay, I think transfer portal over for Terrence. He realized there was nothing out there in the portal for him, so he's back.
Came home. It wasn't nothing out there in these streets I never loved. No, I don't even know what just happened. I'm hardwired in, like on my desktop right now.
You just froze up.
Yeah, said something about the internet. I was like, oh, okay.
Lundy and Nicholson start. Watch Riley and Cryer getting heavy minutes. I would be surprised if Nicholson starts. I think it'd be Lundy and Riley, unless you think Lundy and Riley play similar roles. I kind of see
Riley
Cryer,
a big motherfucker.
Riley is a big dude. I kind of see
he's
6'5".
6'5".
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5" at like Mike. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I see Cryer kind of being Lundy's replacement. Like I think Cryer and Lundy have similar games. I think Cryer might be a more fluid runner than Lundy though.
I think Nicholson is more fluid than we give him credit for.
Well, I think Nicholson's a superb athlete. Again, he has the highest ceiling. He has this high ceiling in that room. If he can put it together, our linebacker room is set.
I saw him drop back in coverage one time. I was like,
I have too. Nicholson can do a lot of different things, sideline to sideline coverage. If you can put it together, that's your linebacker.
You should have went to the NBA, bro. You could have been a 3-and-D player out there.
You say Michigan would not have been able to run the ball on us. I believe that. I don't know. Like if you would have matched up against Michigan, people can say what they want to say.
Hell no.
I don't know if your boy, who's the quarterback for Michigan that everybody's so hyped on.
Nah, don't talk about Jerry Homeboy.
I just don't. I'm not saying I can see why NFL teams like him. I don't think he would have beat us.
McCarthy.
I would have took my chance. Like when I told people that Florida State, the year we played Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl, I told people Florida State could have beat USC that year, and everybody was so hyped on USC. And then you kind of see how USC matches up against the more physical teams. Like that Michigan game would have been very, very interesting.
That would have been our matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it this way. I think
we would have did to Washington what Michigan did to Washington, personally.
Oh, yeah. And I think if we were in the playoffs and Georgia's in the playoffs, it's a great game. I don't know who wins it. If we play Michigan or Washington, get out of here. Dub. If we get that path, dub. But I don't think either of those teams beat Georgia.
Probably not. Washington definitely don't beat Georgia.
So
Michigan's an interesting matchup for most teams. Just because they play anytime you can play defense and run the ball, you got a chance.
Nah, McCarthy would have had to do something.
DJ best against the run, Nicholson best in coverage. So I think that's who they will start with.
I don't think that's how that works. I think it matters on who the opponent is.
I think DJ's definitely the best against the run. I think you're kind of glossing over Cam Riley. I saw some clips of him at Auburn in coverage. And again, he's long, so he can disrupt the passing lanes because he's so big and long. So I think it's DJ and Riley to start off the season. I do.
I think it might even end that way with Nicholson getting a lot of time on the field.
Zay says, "What's up with Jeff Cameron? What happened with Jeff Cameron?" But I don't watch War Chant, so I couldn't tell you what's up with Jeff Cameron, to be quite honest with you.
What he did.
And to be fair, I don't watch a lot of Florida State media. I watch some. There's some guys that I like. But what happened with Jeff Cameron? Anybody know what games they talk about? Because I have zero clue. The defense needs more speed. You think we're slow, Todd?
Really?
At what positions?
I haven't heard that.
Me neither. So I'm curious to where Todd's getting that from, or where I'm curious about that opinion, Todd. Where do you think we lack the speed at?
I mean,
well, while we wait for that, Terrence, let me ask you about. Do you believe in the AZ hype?
What do you mean hype?
So maybe you haven't heard. I mean, a lot of people think AZ is like a top 15 pick in the draft next year. Yeah. A lot of people think he's the best overall player on Florida State's roster.
We've discussed that. He's in the top 3 to 4 on the roster. Right? I feel like we agreed on that. No?
No, I didn't say I disagree with that. I do think he's in the top 3 to 4 guys on the roster for sure. But I'm seeing how this is just talking to the people.
Is AZ top 15 pick though?
There's a lot of hype going into AZ this year, and I'm just curious of how you view it.
I think it's a measurables thing that kind of fight.
So he checks all the boxes when you talk about the prototype.
It's the measurables that really. But he's 6'2". He gives you those. I'm just drawing a blank right now. Y'all know who I want to say. He gives the Jalen Ramsey glimpses. Like you see it in how he looks and how he plays on the field. You see some glimpses of Jalen Ramsey, and maybe that's what the hype is. But I don't know. I mean, it depends on how this year goes. But I wouldn't say it right now. Is he a day 2 pick? Yeah. I don't know if he's
top
like
25. Top 15. No, I'd say top 25 for AZ.
I don't know, man.
Well, Zach, you got to stop listening to Florida. You're listening to Jeff Cameron. He's a Florida State guy. Of course, he's gonna say he hates Miami. You can't listen to him. That'd be like me going. Come on.
Like us going in the Uncle Luke group.
Right.
Be like, why you hating on Florida State so much?
That's weird.
Nigga, that's my job. What you mean?
Of course
he's getting paid to do this.
I thought you were saying Jeff Cameron was like, I don't know, on some crazy stuff. Of course he's talking. I support Jeff Cameron 100%. If what you're mad about is that he's talking shit about Miami.
And he said he loved to see our fan base in misery.
I do too. I do too.
He's not the only one.
Do you know, Zay, the best thing during the season is when y'all lose and I go to y'all spaces? That is the most entertaining thing in the world during the football season. Y'all are hilarious in the Miami spaces, especially when y'all lose a game.
Oh man, y'all want to burn the world down.
I get so much joy out of that. It is the most entertaining thing on the internet by far. That's what I'm looking more forward to for Florida and Miami. Is the spaces after the game.
I think Azariah is a more fluid athlete than Xavier Rhodes.
First round for AZ, second for Cypress. He looks like a baby. Ramsey, AZ, and Darius are in my top 5 most important players. I've said it. I think Darius might be the best player on this team.
Washington.
Yeah, Darius Washington, yeah. He might be the most important player on this team, for sure. Starting left tackle, I think he's All-American caliber. I mean, the guy made, second team All-American or second team All-ACC He was first team All ACC. Darius Washington was first team All ACC as a rotational offensive lineman. That's wild. Think about that. I think Darius, for me, Darius is my guy. I'm interested to see if AZ is gonna live up to the hype that FSU fans have put on him, though. I agree with that too. Darius, I would argue Darius just getting drafted would do wonders for Atkins. But if Darius can somehow sneak as a maybe first round's probably pushing it, but if he can be a second or a third rounder, that'd be huge.
Be nice.
DJU and Marvin Jones Jr. are your question marks.
Really?
Well, I think Marvin Jones Jr. is a legit question mark. Just he has no college production. Everything we are hoping for, we're just hoping that he lives up to the hype.
I don't think it necessary. I feel like we brought enough talent at edge that one of these guys is going to be it.
Somebody's going to pop, right?
Yeah. And it's real legitimate talent. Combined with what we have on the roster, what we brought in.
AZ, remind you, they're built kind of very similar.
I don't agree with that at all.
Their body types are similar.
I feel like Xavier wasn't as fluid.
I don't know
if
their game is similar.
Nah. Xavier is just physically more imposing.
When we meet in the ACC game again, Louisville will beat FSU like Kendrick beat Drake. If Louisville's not making the ACC championship, bro.
Boy, y'all not like us, man. Y'all not our caliber, bro. I'm talking about Louisville, bro. Louisville. Did y'all even beat Kentucky last year?
No, they didn't. I agree with this one, Bronny, though. I don't think DJ is a question mark either. I think I think the problem is some of y'all are expecting DJ to go out here and throw for 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns.
DJ not going to be Jordan.
If that's what you're expecting,
DJ gonna be.
DJ's gonna be what he's been for the last 4 years.
Remember, Christian Ponder.
DJ's gonna give you between 23. I'm gonna say between like 2,400 yards and like 2,700 yards passing. About 25. He's gonna give you Jordan Travis production. That's what he's gonna give you.
He is.
Go check Jordan Travis's numbers, and you tell me Jordan Travis wasn't throwing for $3,000 a year. Jordan Travis wasn't throwing for 35 touchdowns a year. What was Jordan Travis's best year? Did you freeze again? He froze again, y'all. I'm over talking to myself because I'm checking the stats. And this man froze again. I thought my Korean internet was bad. This man in Texas and the internet is kicking his ass. But I'm gonna bring up Jordan Travis's stats just because I want to see like his best season. Was probably last year, and that was 2,700 yards. What do you do in the year prior? $3,200 yards. And that was the season where the offense looked a lot more cohesive, right? If he can give me, if DJ can give me, again, between that 2,700 yard mark, 20 plus touchdowns like Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis never threw over, like his best season, 24 touchdowns through the air, right? DJ, that's what he's kind of done his career. If DJ's giving you the normal stuff, then yeah, I don't have a question about DJ either. I think the problem is when people start to think that DJ is about to come out here and light up the scoreboard. Does Pat Payton get 10 sacks Terrence left us again. I don't know. I think the sacks are going to be spread out. Verse, he didn't crack 10 sacks last year, right? And he still went top 20. So I don't think he necessarily needs to get 10. And then I think the sacks are going to be a little bit spread. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say Pat does not get 10 sacks. I'm gonna say that. I'm not paying attention to Shakur fight personally because I don't believe Shakur's fighting anybody for me to pay attention to. So that's why I'm not paying attention to it. And the crazy thing about DJ, though, if you actually look at it again, you look at his stats. You look at his stats. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. Crazy, right? If you actually look at his stats, DJU does not throw a lot of picks. So, like last year, he only threw 7. Year before that, guess how many he threw? 7. At Clemson, freshman year. Well, no, that's the sophomore year, I think. Yeah, true sophomore, I think. Yeah. He did throw 10. That last year at Clemson, he threw 10. Or his first time fully starting at Clemson, he threw 10. You look at DJ, he's a 2,000-yard passer. His best years are 2022 and 2023, where he threw 25 and 2,600 yards respectively, and 22 and 21 touchdowns respectively, and 7 interceptions both of those years. So he doesn't throw a ton of picks. Shakur won by decision. Of course he did. He won't be as explosive of a runner. I agree with that. What you can get at, oh, dang, T, I didn't even see you back. Okay, here we go. Terrence coming back. We're going to try this again. What I was saying.
He ain't nowhere near the runner.
He's not the runner. But if you design runs for him, he's big enough that he can be, like I said, people kind of laughed at it, but he can be Tim Tebow-esque. If you design the plays for him, he can grind you 5-6 yards a carry, DJ can, and he's big enough to do it.
He reminds me of E.J. Manuel and Christian Ponder.
He's more physical runner than EJ for sure.
But Christian
could run when he wanted to run now.
Yeah. When they wanted to. But it wasn't something that really was highlighted in their game except on designed runs. Like they had design runs for Christian. They had design runs for EJ. They just didn't scramble. And EJ killed us with that. But
who's the best blocker right now? For me, it's Bud.
Bud.
Yeah, it's Bud.
That's a bad man.
Shout out the Tank, but it's Bud.
Bud'll be Canelo.
I have a heart. Ever since that Earl Spence fight, I ain't betting against Bud. I'm interested to see what he does next.
Who is next for him?
I don't think he's made a decision.
Hate that he got his long layoff.
Lovett. Yeah, I mean, Lovett was hurt a lot. So, yeah, Fist definitely outplayed Lovett. But Lovett was a good depth piece to have, for sure. DJ's pretty good about getting rid of the ball if the plays break down. He doesn't try to force too much.
It shows the lack of interceptions. I mean, but that's what EJ Manuel was, man. Am I wrong?
What's that?
He didn't take any risks. Didn't really push.
Well, I think the thing with I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't think DJ and EJ's games match. I'm interested. I'm just interested to see because DJ has the arm where he'll try to throw some balls in there. Where I just at times felt like EJ just wouldn't take the risk. Whether he was being
that's why he was
like
out
that,
of the NFL so quick.
Yeah, and then that's why he was out of the NFL so fast because he just. So I don't know. I'm excited about the possibility of using DJ in the run game, which is why I think he fits the offense. But I'm also again not expecting DJ to be a 3,000-yard passer. Like I think we'll be able to run the ball. That if he just play action and can get the ball to Malik Benson deep or Hakeem Williams deep, I think we'll be fine. Because that's what I expect the offense to look like. A lot of deep shots, play action.
Running down people's throat.
Some design runs for him. Yeah.
When do we see Cam?
I think Cam is going to try to work his way in there.
Because, I mean, it's what, 3 guys ahead of him right now?
I would say probably, yeah. Lawrence,
Tofili,
Keziah, and Roydell.
That's going to be tough. I completely forgot about Roydell. I don't know if he makes his way in there this year. Well,
it depends. I think it's really if he's gonna take snaps, probably gonna be from Keziah. It depends on how Keziah looks.
I like Keziah, man.
I like him too. I think for what we've seen from him, but it's just gonna depend. And then I know a lot of people like Roydell, but I mean we gotta also see how he manages carrying a full load, right? Not like he had a bunch of production at Alabama either. So
true.
Cam will have his opportunities, I believe.
He did have that really good SEC championship game, though.
He did.
So he's stepped up in big time games. So got to give him that.
This is great,
bro. I saw that. I wasn't even going. I couldn't. I didn't know how to.
This is great. Marco, you got the comment of the night. Holy sh!
Let's say Brownlee.
We got Jarvis Brownlee drafted in the 5th. If recruits are smart, they will sign with the Ville.
The Ville, boy. Hey.
You know what, Marco?
Hey, new DBU, bro.
Salute to you for that. Salute to Jarvis Brownlee.
Wasn't he their number 1 corner?
I think he was. I mean,
that's wild. If Jarvis Brownlee your number 1 corner, you got some problems, and we know that. Jarvis Brownlee.
Doing Joe Biden.
That's scary. we not talking about politics. I'm not going to do this. Oh man, where we live in.
No, let Marco have that moment. That was a great comment. That was an amazing comment.
Hey, remember when we used to be on AJ? But you want to know something? Remember AJ Terrell?
Yeah.
And how he was like, oh, he's Jamar Chase's son and all this. Boy, out there making a career, man.
He is. Even after getting
embarrassed
in that national championship game, he is making a career for himself.
He's a top 10 corner. Top 5, some argue.
Y'all said he was crap. FSU waste talent. Jarvis came here and balled out.
And got embarrassed when he played us. What do you mean?
Let him have it. If anybody that wants to go to war for Jarvis Brownlee can have it.
Hey, that boy built different.
You can have it.
If you can defend him, boy.
He can have it. I'm not going to sit here and rehash old memories with Jarvis Brownlee. I promise you I'm not, Marco. You got it.
Wow.
You got it.
I remember his name came up in the draft. I was like, really?
I was like, oh, snap.
I was like, damn. Maybe I missed something.
So I think I'm gonna go for about 30 more minutes.
Right.
I can't even believe it's actually been as long as it's been because it doesn't feel like it's been this long.
Oh damn! You almost hit 3 hours. 2 hours 45 minutes.
Yep. Canes play Louisville after the bye. Miami never wins coming off the bye. Brownlee is cheeks. I hate Johnny Wilson. 7-foot tall dudes belong on a basketball court. Speaking of basketball, FSU's waiting on a decision, I think, from
the 6'8" dude.
This 6'10" left tackle, or 6'8", 6'9", something like that. He's a former basketball player that's trying to play some football now.
Wasn't there another guy? I don't think he was African.
He's got some legit schools looking at him too.
Isn't there an overseas dude we're looking at?
I don't know. Maybe. SMU may be better than Louisville. Don't sleep on them. They will be good. Go Noles. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, man, y'all go ahead and hit that like button for me. I like doing these open talk shows. People say some good stuff.
Like, oh man, that's crazy. I never noticed that. The NFL Academy in London. They have some interesting big dudes over there.
Says we need all the O-line help we can get. You sure? All right. Okay. So you said this. Hold on. They said this, so I'm curious. Is he just saying something that he's just regurgitating some talking point, or if he's actually like know what he's talking about? So Zach, where's our weakness on the O-line? Like, where would you say our weakness is on our O-line? Or you think the whole O-line's weak? Because I don't know how many matter of fact, I'll look at it. How many ACC All-Americans does Miami have on their O-line?
Let's look at the ACC All-Americans.
I'm just curious.
All-conference team. The 2024 team is out? The preseason?
First team offense. This first team all ACC. I don't see a Miami offensive lineman on that. As a matter of fact, I don't see. Restrepo made first team all ACC.
Francis did.
No, he didn't. He made second team.
On the 20, I'm talking about the 2024 preseason. No,
I'm not. I don't care about preseason. I'm talking about who actually made all ACC. I'm not talking about. I don't care about preseason. That's a projection. Who actually made all ACC? Francis, as a matter of fact, didn't even make second team. Jalen Rivers did though. Then Matt Lee did. Francis didn't even make third team all ACC. So when you say that, Zay, I want you to tell you got to come on. You got to come back with it because when you say FSU has a problem on the O-line, you got to have the work to prove it. Because like I said, Darius Washington was a first-team offensive lineman in the ACC last year. So was Demetri Emmanuel. Like Demetri Emmanuel's gone, but he was also first-team All-ACC. So FSU had two first-team All-ACC players on the O-line. Miami didn't have
get drafted?
He did not get drafted.
Oh, that's a damn shame. Didn't he get? Who was it that got injured on the
O-line
in the Louisville game?
Oh, in the Louisville game, I'm not sure.
It was somebody was that Scott that got injured and carted off the field?
Robert Scott stays injured, so you probably are talking about Robert
No,
Scott.
I'm talking about it was at the end of a game, and it was a Louisville game. Somebody got injured, carted off the field.
Are you talking about the bowl game at Oklahoma? where Turntine got carted off the field.
Like,
that's the only one I can remember. And all the players came out for him. That was Turntine. That was against Oklahoma 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm on my Joe Biden.
Zay, come on, I'm still waiting. This isn't a reply to the question I asked you. You said the O-line needs help. I'm asking you, where? And where's Miami's all first team? Where's Miami's All-American O-lineman? If you don't have an answer, just say you don't have an answer. I'm pretty sure you don't. Because again, you just regurgitating the talking point. You're not actually talking about what you've seen with your eyes. Bain did nothing in that game, by the way.
Not a damn thing.
What's up, Terrell? Mario's still cooking. Oh, man. That's his reply. He don't have a reply. It's okay, Zay. I still love you. But just be careful when you say things. I'm going to challenge you.
Damn, Zay. You going to let a man talk to you like that?
He didn't have a... He just heard somebody else say it. So he's saying...
He said you ain't got no sources. Ain't no sort. I trust Atkins, man.
Well, to Miami's credit, like I think, Maui Goa should probably have a good sophomore campaign. I think he's a good player. I said it before. I would take Maui Goa over Byers right now. I stand on that. Not a big fan of Byers. Like if you would have mentioned Byers, I might have gave you some props, Zay.
Like Byers trash. Like word.
All ACC my foot. Some of that S is biased. Or maybe just based off production. But okay. And then Cooper is a beast, and Maui Goa is a beast. You do know that you named 2 players on a 5-man O-line.
Rest of that shit weak.
you named 2 players. You named 2 players. Offensive line is made out of 5. A center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles. You only named 2 guys. Come on, Zay, you digging yourself?
Marco, how many games y'all winning, Marco? Macro.
Marco know good and damn well Louisville about to go to. Miami and UF chatty. Basically, that's every offseason. Everybody's happy until games get played. And then they, well, hell, Byers is a guard playing tackle too, if that's the case.
Ain't got no business.
Yeah, if that's the case, again, I'm going to stand on that one.
Maui a baller, though. I like him.
I think so.
Hey, there's a home for you in Tallahassee. You tired of losing?
But if he did.
You get tired of losing?
Facts. You get tired of losing, Goa, and you don't want to go, back on the West Coast. You just.
I can take some money out of my taxes and put it towards your NIL deal.
Bias. FSU is the school leading the record against the conference. Why would they favor us on anything?
Exactly. Like, what? Who can ever say there's bias for us?
Not in our favor. Not when it comes to the ACC, for sure.
Where have you seen that?
Y'all watched our games. Did y'all see a weakness in our O-line? Because it was the strength, in my opinion.
I feel like Fisk and Verse had a great time.
I feel like your O-line was solid. It didn't help you win a lot of games. I'm not saying it's not a good. I'm not saying the O-line wasn't good. I'm saying you lost your best player, I think, on that offensive line. So the issue for Miami is how do you replace that center? And if you think that center isn't important, I've used this example before. 2013 Florida State and 2014 Florida State's offensive lines were drastically different, and only one player was missing out of both of those, and that was Stork. They brought back everybody except Stork, and that 14 O-line was not the same as that 13.
Didn't know what to do.
And
had to move the left tackle to center.
Exactly. It didn't become better until they moved Cam to center, put in Big Rod at tackle, and then it finally was starting to look a lot better, right? So Samson, I'm going to be honest with you, I watched Samson's somebody brought up spring game. I don't know if Samson is ready to play football right now. Yeah, he was a 5-star. I don't know if he's ready to play. But we'll see. Carpenter ain't as good as Lee. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
If you saying that, we got a couple of 5-stars sitting on the bench. What do you mean?
We'll see.
Am I wrong? Like,
I mean, I could bring up like Lucas Simmons,
bro, like
something like that. But I can bring up Carmella, but we kind of haven't seen him. Like I can bring up guys too early, but we'll see. We have young guys waiting in the wings just like y'all do. I just pump your brakes today. Just pump your brakes. And that's true, bro.
Like to say we need all we can get is crazy.
Miami's O-line might have a higher ceiling than FSU right now, but we snagged Thomas and Petty. We raising the floor. Yeah, I agree with that. Right now, your O-line's looking pretty good in recruiting. If you get Petty, whew, that's the best O-line Atkins has brought in by far. You don't play any good out-of-conference teams this year. I mean, we play Notre Dame. Who does Louisville play? If you say Kentucky,
the same goddamn schedule.
If you say Kentucky,
they got the same. Bro, I'm looking at it, bro. They got the same schedule. Austin P, Jacksonville State, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, SMU, Virginia, Miami, Boston College, Clemson, Stanford, Pittsburgh, Kentucky.
Marco, go sit in the corner somewhere. What are you talking about?
A.k.a. say if ifs was fist, we'd all be drunk. Salute.
We completed 8 passes and lost by 7. Stop the cap. If you want to keep it up, if you want me to stop the cap, here, I'll take the cap off. The only reason you lost by that 7 is because Kevin Noles, who's another safety actually that we forgot to mention, that earlier conversation when we talked about safety depth. Kevin Noles had one of the worst plays on the ball I've ever seen. Right up there with that Minnesota Saints game. Y'all remember that game?
Bruh.
When Diggs makes the catch.
And Marcus Williams did that, yeah.
That's right on par. Right on par with that.
What was you thinking?
What are you doing? That's the only reason. Marco, we play Notre Dame. Okay, you're just answering the Marco stuff. You should have not. There at no time in that game, bro, were you ever a threat. I was on the sidelines. At all.
I was just about to say that.
I was on the sidelines the entire game. At no time was Miami a threat in that game.
There was no point where everyone was like, damn, we might lose.
There was no point in that game. It was like, damn. We just made he made that boneheaded play that kept y'all in that game closer than it should have been.
And then they was talking, who was that quarterback? Is he even still there?
The one that got hurt?
Yeah. Or if he was still, if he had stayed healthy.
Williams, I think he's still there, if I'm not mistaken.
If Emory was healthy the whole game, if Emory didn't get hurt, we'd have. Or who was that? Is that who ended up getting hurt? Because I know TBD got hurt too.
TBD didn't start that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
TBD didn't start that game. Emory started that game. Then he got hurt, and then I think TBD came in or something like that. I don't know. I just know your boy got hurt, broke his arm or something like that.
Yeah, it was nasty. Nasty break. Didn't change the game, though.
Money, man. Zay, go.
Man, threw for 60 yards.
Man, Zay, get out of
The
here.
whole game.
The Gators
threw for 60-something
are
60-something yards the whole game.
yards the whole game. The Gators are 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 the whole game. The Gators So that one play gave Miami. Who the hell said it gave Miami 20 points? I said it made the score closer. That's not a lie. No one said it gave you 20 points. If it gave you 20 points, you would have won the game. Oh no, man. Miami fans. Dumb stuff.
Oh man. This is a good day. Good day.
But I'm glad you guys competed well. Man, I've never seen a fan base be more happy with just competing well. Yeah. That's how far that fan base has fallen, man. Miami fans are happy to King Zay and New King are happy to sit here and go, well, man, we played y'all hard. I get it, because a year prior to that,
hey, they players had better stats. I remember them bragging about George having all them yards.
Yeah, all those yards and a loss. I get it, man.
He outplayed Coleman. Oh man,
I get it. You're just happy to be in the conversation.
Yeah, when we went up 27-13, that was pretty much it.
Bro, that was pretty much it.
Y'all had that big play, the 85-yard touchdown pass, and that was it. I'm trying to even look at the last few drives. Did y'all even move the ball?
That's where
12 plays, 37 yards, interception. Before that touchdown, mind you, before that 80-yard touchdown, a 3 and out, 5 yards, 12 plays, 3 yards and 3 plays and a fumble. Like, you did absolutely nothing the entire rest of the game. Y'all got a field goal on a short field. On that onside kick. At the start of the third quarter, they did an onside kick, got the ball, kicked the field goal. After that, it was 3 plays and a fumble, 5 plays. Punt.
I'll give you that, King. I think that was a safety. Problem is, you didn't lose by 2 points. You didn't lose by a point. So
did we get points on that drive? No.
Right. So
what happened?
Okay, let's give you 2 points. So you lose by 5.
You weren't moving the ball, bro. Like, was I on mute or something? Did they not hear what I just said?
Exactly. They couldn't.
You weren't moving the ball the entire second half. You had outside of that 80-yard play, you had 50 yards, bro.
Let's go, New King. This is a great way to end the stream. All the excuses all of a sudden. We had a ton of injuries, a true freshman quarterback. We had a true freshman quarterback, and we won the ACC. So, I don't know if I want to hear that one, but I'll continue. We couldn't pass, and y'all beat us by 7 at home. Now we got Cam and a better team, and we're beating y'all by 21 this year.
Let's go.
You don't believe anything you typed. Past a ton of injuries and a freshman QB, you don't believe anything after that.
So now he couldn't pass, but that pass was a dot, though. I don't know, man.
You don't believe anything he put in that comment.
You got a better chance getting off the stream and beating your meat. Did y'all beat us this year? Fuck out of here.
The problem is y'all didn't prove y'all were moving the ball. Yes, it should have been a safety. Cool. You think y'all was all?
Was I on mute? Like, I literally listed out their last 5 drives.
You couldn't move the ball, Zay. You couldn't move the ball, Zay.
3 plays, 1 yard. 3 plays, 12 yards. 3 plays, 0 yards. 3 plays, 7 yards. What are we talking about?
Sure, it's all about momentum. Sure, we can talk about the momentum, whatever. You weren't all of a sudden about to start driving the ball up and down the field, Zay. Come on, what are you talking about? Yeah. Miami fans, y'all used to have pride. Y'all are going out pretty sad right now. Y'all used to be a prideful fan base where you didn't accept mediocrity. You didn't accept just being in the game. Y'all going out sad.
I really would like for us to just put our foot on their neck this year.
Y'all going out sad. It's disgusting, actually.
And just
nasty work. Nasty work. And with all that said, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. I know it's getting late over there for you, T. Even though it looked like you were just eating some chicken or something.
Man, I've been nibbling on this little 10-piece I had. I hadn't had dinner yet. So it is what it is. But
late night dinner for you.
Yeah.
I
Probably
gotta go
should
get
skip
lunch.
Lunch.
Bro, it's only one. What time is it? It's actually 2:00 in the afternoon here.
Oh man.
So we
gotta make plans when you get back, man.
I told you, let me know what we doing when I get
let
back.
Let you know. Like,
well, when I get back, let me know. That's my point. When I get back, you let me know.
I'm assuming you got some family stuff to do.
I'm gonna let you know when it's around that time. I'll shoot you a message and let you know when I'm coming back.
Bet. I'm gonna be in Florida a couple times, like between now and then. About to be out there going on this little cruise, man.
So we planning a cruise for when the wife get back.
Yeah, because she gonna be gone till what? Next year, ain't it?
She'll be gone. She'll come back in February, I think. Somewhere around there. Early next year. It'll be early next year.
I mean, we'll slide.
January, February, somewhere about there.
Me and Nessa slide, so.
Literally, like, real talk, Briley, I literally am. It's Sunday, 2 in the afternoon here. Like,
it is the 7th where he is.
Yes, I'm actually literally talking to you.
It's still the 6th. Oh, now it just turned to the 7th for me. So.
Yes, if you're on the East Coast, you're an hour into the 7th. If you're Central Time, you just hit the 7th.
He's a man of the future.
On the 7th.
I thought we already got that. Put it in the chat. I thought Zane in the
Yeah, Zay, aren't you in the Discord?
In the Discord?
By the way, speaking of Discord's up, running. Go ahead and drop in the Discord if y'all want to kick it.
Talk some shit.
But you got anything you want to close us out on, Terrence?
Man, it's been a good couple weeks of recruiting lately. Positive things around the program. Outside of the recent news in regards to AJ Lyden.
Yeah.
And now that's a sad case, but
I did open up the stream with that, by the way.
Yeah.
So just again, condolences to Lighten and everybody that was involved in that.
Kyrie Jackson and the other kid who lost his life, unfortunately.
Prayers up and condolences to the family, of course.
Definitely. Outside of that, man, just glad to hopped on tonight. I ain't been on since you left. Actually, I don't think.
On the other week, but I guess you did too. Late.
Yeah, I missed that, but y'all definitely hop in the Discord, man. Chop it up. Laughs.
You need the Discord link. It is in the community section of my page.
Yeah.
So just go to the community section where I post all the community notes. Every time somebody commits, right, I post a picture of them in the community. Go check that community. Discord links in there.
Bradley, I'm about to get up out of here. I leave on Monday, and I'm in Dallas, so I'm not down there in Houston. But everybody that is in that area, y'all be safe with this hurricane. It's Category 5, and it's pulling up right now. Huh?
Is the hurricane about to hit Texas?
Houston area, yeah.
For real? Damn.
What was the name of it? It started with a B.
Is that the one that hit Jamaica?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's still a 5, I think.
It's monsoon season here in Korea, which just means a bunch of rain.
Well, no, it's not a hurricane no more. My bad.
It's not a hurricane.
It's supposed to be a Category 1 in the first thing in the morning, and it's coming up on the south side, so it's gonna roll through San Antonio. It's gonna roll through where your crib at. But it's gonna be like a tropical storm around that time.
Okay.
So, if y'all in the San Antonio area, all that in Austin, whatever, that's where it's gonna roll through. Houston gonna get some flooding. We probably gonna get a lot of rain, but I'm gonna be out of here on Monday. So by Wednesday is when it's coming to Dallas. So y'all be going.
If you're in Texas, stay safe. I mean.
Yeah. Either way, everybody.
Texas also had, I want to say back in Was it May or April? I don't know. They had a string of thunderstorms because on my camera, I saw my fence got blown down. So
yeah, and man, we had I think I sent you the pictures of when we had the hail.
Yeah, hail and there's some I think tornadoes too. So
tornado warnings. Yeah, it gets kind of wild out here.
Yeah, stay safe in Texas, man.
But all right, man. Appreciate you having me, man. Y'all take it easy. I'll let y'all later.
Do this again. And as always, is your boy Pope over here on 863 Cinema TV. Stay classy. Go Noles. We are out here.